FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. We're starting off your Thursday morning at 69 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Am I lower, John?
I don't know. You feel lower?
I feel like I'm at the kids' table this morning. There it is.
There you go.
Starting off at 69 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge this morning. We got a busy show today. Going to be checking in New Orleans a couple different times. Get the latest from Media Row and the Super Bowl. Our own David St. Remig's down there. Mark Romig is going to join us as well. Actually, let me give you the whole guest list here. We got Haggai Davis for a cup of tech gumbo half an hour from now. We got Mark Romig at 7:05. Dr. Cade Brumley at 7:15. Crimestoppers 7:35. David St. Remig at 8:15. And then we're going to wrap up with have you heard of the Baton Rouge Underground Film Fest? Probably not because it's underground. Not really. Joe Carlton with the Film Fest is going to join us at 8:35 to talk about that. So a lot of ground to cover. Let's get right to it. Top stories and trending. Let's go.
Number 5.
Number 5 starts us off with EBR School Superintendent Lamont Cole says it's important to be open and honest when it comes to the violence that's in the school system. In the span of 24 hours, a brawl broke out at a middle school basketball game. 2 preschoolers beat up another preschooler, not at the brawl, a separate incident. And in a third separate incident, a student snuck a gun into school under his wheelchair cushion. Cole says to be on the lookout for punishment to be meted out where necessary for parents and staff in the first 2, and for the third one, better weapons screening is coming soon.
Number 4.
Keeping with that story, a student at Woodlawn High was caught trying to bring a gun through school metal detectors by hiding it in the cushion of his wheelchair on Wednesday. Officials said 17-year-old Kevin Evans III was booked for illegal carrying of a firearm or dangerous weapon on school property, and having a firearm in a firearm-free zone.
Number 3.
Our Lady Lake Hospital on Wednesday celebrated its first autologous bone marrow transplant in almost a decade. William Carruthers had multiple myeloma, a type of cancer that damages the bones, immune system, and kidneys, as well as several reducing red blood cell count. Vice President of the Cancer Institute at Our Lady Lake, Susan Foray, said the autologous bone marrow surgery, which uses healthy blood stem cells from your own body to replace the cancerous bone marrow, has only recently been added back to the hospital. It's been 8 or 9 years since the surgery was offered.
Number 2.
Traditional and charter schools in Louisiana gained a combined 843 teachers during the 23-24 school year, bringing the total workforce to a record-breaking 52,808 educators. That's according to a January report from the Department of Education.
Number 1.
Takes us across the river as firefighters in Addis have started off their morning busy, responding to a house fire in Addis. This one is being reported by our news partners at WB right now. Firefighters were on trial drive. Investigators working to determine how this pre-dawn fire started. Unclear whether or not anyone was even in the house at the time. No injuries have yet been reported, but if you're on the other side of the river, you might want to be on the lookout for that. What's trending, John?
Well, CBS News has publicly released an unedited transcript for its 60 Minutes interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris that is previously provided to the Federal Communications Commission.
Yeah, let me line up and watch that. How many people are going to hate watch that? How many people are going to watch that simply to be mad at Kamala Harris?
You already know.
Yeah,
you already know it's coming. I mean, and we've talked about it before at length. It feels like, but yeah, I'm glad.
I don't need to put it out. I don't need to take 45 minutes of my life to watch someone not answer questions.
But it's come and gone, right? The ship has sailed, basically, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are people really interested still?
Yeah,
and you're right. The only reason why to be watching now is pretty much just for hate.
Basically, what else you got?
Hey, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested more than 100 alleged members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua during an early morning raid at an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado on Wednesday.
Really? An apartment complex, and they busted 100 Venezuelan gang members. Now, I want to make sure we're right on this one, okay?
Yep.
These were gang members that were arrested,
Gang members,
not school
these were
children.
no.
This was at an apartment complex. This
Yes.
was not at a school. This was not like they didn't raid an
No.
elementary school.
Okay.
Okay, so all the
Exactly.
fear and everything about who's being picked up and deported. So far, what we're hearing is stories like that a lot more often.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay, fair. There's what we're supposed to be afraid of, and then there is what is. If that is one of the stories that is what is, I'm here for it.
Yep. Absolutely. Hey, look, in other news, with just days to go before Super Bowl 59, security around Caesars Superdome is at its highest level following the New Year's Day terrorist attack on Bourbon Street.
A lot ramped up yesterday for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big deal.
Well, we had Jason Suit in from Visit Baton Rouge yesterday,
Yes.
and he was telling a story about roughly 200 law enforcement officers are staying in Baton Rouge. They're hauling down to
Yeah.
go help out with the overall cause. So I mean, if you're getting overflow business in Baton Rouge from security alone, oh man, New Orleans could be a pretty safe place for a couple days.
I would think so.
Yeah. I mean, specifically the CBD. I mean, I'm not saying like go out in May or Lower 9 or something like that, but like
No.
in and around the Superdome, CBD, the French Quarter, it's gonna be pretty great. I'm hoping to go back down again.
Yeah?
After the show today. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I went down Tuesday, did the Louisiana Now thing, which looks amazing.
How was it there? How was the atmosphere? People were excited. People were
Okay.
stoked. I mean,
it was still early. Like you could tell,
Okay.
like there's a lot of people in the convention center, a lot of media in the convention center, a lot of people up in so they've got the media row
right.
where all the radio
you have all the
stations, TV
broadcasters,
stations,
yeah.
and podcasters, and everybody are all set up. And there's like close to, I want to say there's like close to 200. I know there's more than 150 different individual media outlets set up to broadcast from there. But a lot on Tuesday was like the Pat McAfee show still building up their set. ESPN Radio National still building up their set. Like yesterday was the day where it really ramped up. So I want to go back today to get a second look at it and say, that's where we were. This is where we are.
Excited.
Maybe put up some more content on Talk's Facebook page too.
All right.
612 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Quick break. Come back. We've got some sports to cover. We will do that next. Good morning, sir. Yes. Yeah. Oh no, it's for me, it's been since it's been balls to the wall since the snowstorm. Oh god, yeah, I forgot you're dealing with that. What? Unreal. It's looking good though. It's on its way back, right? Jeez.
Yeah. We're going through a whole home renovation at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Back in December. In December, early December, the washing machine decided to blow a plug, shall we say, and dump a whole load of water,
Oh, no.
which went across wood floors in 4 rooms, which meant
Oh.
all the floors throughout the entire house.
How much is insurance picking up?
About $800, almost all of it.
Okay.
Oh.
But as well, we're going to change the floors. We're going to paint these walls and paint the tiles. Well, if we're going to paint the inside, we got to paint the outside. Well, if we paint the inside, I really hate these kitchen countertops. Let's change those too. Well, use the countertop. We got to paint the cabinets. So we got to change all the bathroom countertops too.
Oh man.
And it's just
So it snowballed really quick.
oh, and the light fixtures. My God, those are all 35-year light fixtures. This is so yes.
So now
You know what? Highlight 1.3 from LSU.
1.3. Got it. So the honey list just keeps growing.
Oh, it ain't funny too.
Plenty higher.
Yeah. Honey do that shit 25 years ago. Get the professionals in there to do it now.
Yeah.
I can afford what I couldn't afford 25 years ago.
Yeah. I like that.
I didn't stick around yet. That was the brothers.
Not bad. It was. I mean, it's, you don't want to see great. Just talking about suicide.
Mm.
Hang on. Coming up on 616, it's our 107.3 FM at WBRP. More than Brian Halliday and rolling right along. We got a lot of ground to cover in sports, so let's dive right in. Going to go ahead and start off with last night. LSU men's basketball on the road at Georgia. Georgia came into the game 3-6 in conference. If you were LSU, if you're Matt McMahon, and you were looking for just the slightest bit of weakness in the schedule, an unbelievably tough SEC schedule, if you were looking for that little bit of weakness, this was going to be it. I know it was a road game, but you had the chance to do something last night. And in the first half, LSU took the lead.
As Curtis Gibbons works it in the front court, gives to Williams. Quickly touch pass back to Gibbons. Now to Williams. 3-ball. Good. LSU has hit 8 3-pointers. Every single point for the Tigers tonight thus far from behind the 3-point line.
And they lead 24-22. Chris Blair on the call. And that was the last bit of prosperity you were going to see. Oh, 8 3-pointers for their first 24 points, all behind the arc. The Tigers ended the night. You heard 8 3-pointers right there. Early in the first half, the Tigers ended the night with 12. I mean, after that, it was all downhill. LSU loses 81-62. They fall to 12-10 overall, 1-8 in conference play. Jordan Sears led the way in scoring with 11. He had 11. Jordan Sears had 11 more points than Haggai Davis last night. Cam Carter had 10. Damian Collins had 10. Two Tigers had 9. LSU, and they'll come back home, but it's not going to get any easier. I mean, when you've got this SEC schedule, any opportunity, any crack in the armor, you got to take advantage of. They're going to play number 25 in the nation, Ole Miss, on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. You'll hear it on our station, Eagle 98.1. After Ole Miss, they're going to be on the road at Arkansas, on the road at home, and then home against South Carolina. So you might be able to get 2 out of 3 between those 3, and then that's probably it as far as wins are concerned. Because once they've played South Carolina, it goes number 6 Florida, number 4 Tennessee, number 22 Mississippi State, number 14 Kentucky, number 10 Texas A&M. And I don't care if you're playing at home or on the road; those are all better than you are right now. From the men's side to the women's side, Kim Mulkey's Tigers are on the road tonight as well. And I got a pop-up ad problem. There we go. Kim Mulkey's Tigers are on the road tonight as well. They are at Missouri, number 6 LSU, playing unranked Missouri. Missouri's 12-12 on the year, 1-8 SEC play. You're going to hear this game right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Patrick Wright, Cade Williams will be on the call. Tip-off is at 6:30, which means pregame starts at 6. Meanwhile, let's take you down to New Orleans. All the world is in the Big Easy right now, or all eyes are on the Big Easy right now, which means all the stars in the NFL are making the rounds. That includes former LSU Tiger Jaden Daniels, who was making the rounds yesterday. One of his stops on Sirius Satellite Radio was he was asked about that lineage of playing with some of the LSU greats.
There's something in the water. You got to be a dog to go to LSU, right? I mean, just having guys like that come before us. You walk through the halls and you're seeing just all Americans, and you see all SEC stuff like that, man. You want to be up there. So it's just like an inspiration just to go up there and really strive to go out there and chase your dreams. And I was lucky enough to play with Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, and we all had that dream of Like, man, we want to be on the wall in the position rooms. We want to be all American team. We want to be all SEC. So it was dope just to chase that dream with them.
So fun. Oh, I love it. I love the fact that he's one of us. Just there's guys that go through LSU, and when they come out the other side, it's like he's a Tiger for life. He's a Tiger for life. God bless. All right. More on the Super Bowl in a little bit. We had Billy Dunguester on yesterday. We're going to revisit some audio from that right now at 6:20. It's time for us to check in with the Fox Business Report.
See, we got the Facebook crew sounding off saying the audio is bad. Something is up with the audio. The microphone's bad. How do I sound? Is it maybe just his mic, or is it my mic as well? All mic. Well, Haggai was clear. Well, Haggai's on top, but and I really appreciate the feedback. Yeah, everything here sounds good. Okay, so Johnson Haggai, is that my mic only? Haggai was clear. Oh, yeah. What is going on?
All right, testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Is my mic on? Because you can hear me. We'll see what it plays here in about 45 seconds. All right, testing 1 2, testing 1 2.
Oh.
No, it's kind of chopped up.
Nothing would have changed. What is going on? All right. Oh, you're good. About to be coming up on traffic in about a minute or so. What? Yes. Dang. Oh, let me see something.
All right. Today's poll should be cut. None guesser lights.
Okay. Got it. Oh.
Is my mic cutting out?
Yeah, so Aga and I were just talking about that. For some reason, the Facebook, it's kind of
Is it on air or is it
a little
just
choppy.
Facebook?
I think it's just Facebook.
What are we doing to fix it?
Well, that's the thing. I'm just double checking. All the levels are good on this end. I don't know what.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing.
That didn't answer my question. All right.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Here we go.
Ready.
Head back to Shaw Bill's Tire Traffic Center, and we got a little bit of volume on I-12 westbound. Nothing out of the normal, though. Your normal volume on 12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish. 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish looks great, by the way. Wide open on that front. And 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish is also looking good. Both bridges are moving right along as well, as is 110. Now, that being said, there is a stalled vehicle on 110 near North 22nd, but I'm not seeing enough volume or any volume at all. Well, you know what? That stalled vehicle was reported an hour ago. I bet you it's moved by now. But if it's not causing delays. On your surface streets, be on the lookout for, let's see, there's an accident on Tucker at McKenzie Court being worked by the sheriff's office. Tucker and McKenzie Court, not exactly a main thoroughfare there. And another one, Crepe Myrtle at Alder, or Crepe Myrtle at Sassafras, excuse me. So nothing going on in the major thoroughfares throughout. We're looking good. We're looking good for the beginning of your morning drive. That's your look at traffic from the Shaw Bills Tire Traffic Center. Didn't Cade send a text last night that we were going to expect problems this morning? Was that about logging in?
Only on the logging in side.
Okay, so we need to find out, did anything get messed up in trying to fix the login last night? Did they jack with anything that didn't have to do with the login?
I sent him the group. Are you in the group?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I'll see what they respond.
625 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hey, if you're watching us on Facebook Live or on YouTube stream this morning, my apologies. We're trying to work through an audio difficulty, as apparently the microphone's all choppy on that end. We're efforting our best to get that resolved. So bear with us, or hop on over on the radio side if you can. But I always appreciate you tuning in on Facebook Live. And get involved, get interactive in the chat and everything. We're going to head down to New Orleans to talk with Mark Remig from New Orleans and Company. Mark Remig, y'all all know Mark Remig. If you've ever been to a Saints game, you know the Remig name, the voice of the Superdome. And we're going to talk with him about just the overall business of the Super Bowl. That's coming up at 7:05. Before that, though, when talking about the build-up to the Super Bowl, had Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser on yesterday. And one of the things that he mentioned, and this didn't get a whole lot of pub ahead of time, but now that it's here, it's one of the most viral things about this week. Have you seen St. Louis Cathedral? Have you seen the Presbyterian? Have you seen the Cabildo? At night, the light show they've got going on is ridiculous. It's amazing. It's those buildings like you've never seen them before. It's like if those buildings went through a Disney fever dream. That's the best way I can describe it, and it comes out in its glories. Billy Nungesser talked about this yesterday.
If you haven't seen the light show on the Cabildo and Presbyterian, I know a lot of people are upset for lighting up the church, but they did it at Notre Dame. They did it at the Vatican. And it's 1 week, but that show is going viral all over the world and gives a new height of awareness to Louisiana and the beautiful Jackson Square. Because from the river, that is one of the top photographs taken in all of America. And surely this light show just adds a little bit of flair to it. Just an incredible show that if you're down here, they spent $1 million of private money, donations on that light show that'll run through Super Bowl. It's worth coming down. It starts at 6:30 every night, and it's a great show.
$1 million of private money to put the light show on. Now, I did ask the Lieutenant Governor as a follow-up question, any chance that sticks around? Because you know how when something's tried out for a bigger event like this, you're on a bigger stage, and they'll try something and it might stick. I was curious. Sorry, I had to hit the cough button. I was curious as to whether or not this was going to be one of those things. One of those things where when you see how overwhelmingly popular it is, you might be able to turn it into something else. And I love when we can look towards other places to find out things that we can do at home. A couple summers ago, the Haldane clan went to San Antonio for summer vacation. And one of the stops along the way in San Antonio was the San Fernando Cathedral, specifically the main plaza outside the San Fernando Cathedral. Because every night I shouldn't say every night. It was like Tuesday through Sunday. I think they take Monday nights off. But at 9 o'clock and 9:30 p.m., there is a light show that lights up the front of the cathedral, and it tells the entire story of Texas, or the entire story of San Antonio and Texas, from the Alamo all the way through Jerry Jones being a horrible owner. No, from the Alamo all the way on through the state's history, embracing the different heritage along the way. It's a beautiful show, open and free to the public. It's glorious. But my idea there was to kind of follow up on the same note as, if we're doing this down in New Orleans, how amazing would it be to be able to do this on a permanent basis, to be able to have this as a show place. And then once I started thinking about it, I was like, you know what? Dang it, forget New Orleans. We got to figure out how to bring this home. This should be up on the old state capitol. If you've seen what's going on with the light show down there, just go ahead and envision what that would look like on the old state capitol. And if we could do a light show telling Louisiana's history, all the better. All right, 6:30 at Talk 107.3 FM. Cup of Tech Gumbo coming up next. Have you seen the St. Louis Cathedral? Hey, did you? Okay.
Let me take a picture of it. But yeah, like I said, nothing changed. YouTube sounds great.
Okay.
Freaking Facebook.
So I haven't been down there at night, so I haven't gotten to see it personally. But let's see. Yeah, the Saints have got some stuff up on their site. Or do they?
Yeah, y'all. Sorry about this. We're getting it worked out. But hey, if you want to scoot on over to our YouTube channel, and this would be a good time to subscribe to it. The audio seems to be great over there. So until we get it resolved, that's what we can. I can suggest.
See it behind her. Yeah, that's what's on the front of the cathedral. Look at that.
They were doing that down in Sydney on the Sydney Opera House when we were down there.
How gorgeous is that? All right, that's just one little video.
Oh, that's cool. Did they have to get Vatican permission to do that? Is that what that sounded like you were saying in the story?
No. Yeah. Non-guessers said they got permission from the Vatican.
Okay. Speaking of, I sent you the link. That you, I don't know if that's what you wanted to talk about was the Vatican's paper on AI.
You had something in the prep,
right?
Yeah,
but I sent you the link to the whole story as well in a second email. At this point, well, I don't know if you wanted to go back to it later on to see it. I was amazed at how well written and well thought out that it was.
Yeah,
I was not expecting, wasn't expecting the Galileo and Copernicus slamming science and Illuminati thing, but I mean, I wasn't expecting.
I didn't realize it got that deep. All right. Troy says y'all sound like an interview with an anonymous whistleblower on Dateline. With their
I could recommend maybe just restarting altogether. But
I'm trying to figure out if I'm cutting out because it's too hot. Is it too hot feeding Facebook?
nothing. But like I said, on my end, nothing's changed. Because I wonder, because YouTube, I'm listening to it in my ears, and it's like, it's good. But
You know, I was listening to my nose, and it worked a whole lot better.
so it's like, hey, you know,
Wait,
there's YouTube.
speak to my phone.
Wait, no, hey, Haggai, keep talking.
There's
Hello, testing. Hello, hello, hello. This is the way I sound. Does it sound any better now? Did it clear itself up?
Check the M audio. I think our feed is too hot. Just take that output volume on M audio and turn it down just a hair.
You want to test it? I just lowered it.
All right, let's see. Well, then we're gonna keep on trying this and see if that makes any difference at all.
The output was on 3. I just put it on 2.
Okay. All right, let's see.
See if that improves it.
Or did we freeze? Now we're frozen. Wait, no. There we go.
Sounds better.
Hmm?
Better.
Let me keep testing.
Yeah, listen to the difference on YouTube. It's way more.
YouTube's also a lot faster, a lot less latency.
So it's Facebook.
Just play the weather. Yeah, I think that's better. It's probably as good as it's going to get for today, though. So we don't have somebody that can fix it. I can't get my computer to stay awake for more than 3 minutes. Like if it will not allow me to change the setting.
Did they change it at the admin level from a server pushing out 3 minutes?
I don't know, but again, for the same reason we can't fix that, our engineers in New Orleans because we're running all the 104.5 out of New Orleans this week.
Does Bo control the network, or is that do y'all have an IT company doing it?
No, that'd be us. 638 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Oh my goodness, we got. Every once in a while, when it comes to a cup of tech gumbo, we get to step away from Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. We get to step away from protecting your passwords, although we will talk passwords today. We get to step into a story that is worthy of a Dan Brown novel. And that's where we're at today. It is time for Cup of Tech Gumbo. We welcome back Haggai Davis. How are you, man?
I'm doing great.
You liar.
I know.
Haggai's undergoing some renovations in the house right now. Haggai and Haggai and Paula are doing their impression of the money pit right about now.
Yeah, living in a hotel. The dogs are at the vet. Just the house is. There's nothing in the house right now. It's just all shambles. It's for those people who stay in a house for 25 years, like we have, and don't purge along the way. You find things.
Oh, purging's a great thing.
Oh my God, we found a box that had stuff in it from the year 2000, and we're like, "Why is this here?" I don't know. Throw it away.
Yeah,
Just like
haven't touched it in 15 years, so
yes,
haven't needed it before, won't need it tomorrow.
no. So yes, we've been going through that.
Well, I appreciate you plowing through and getting in this morning because it's one of the stories you sent over. I'm going to admit I only read about half of it, and apparently I didn't even read the good half. Pope Francis has repeatedly warned that the application of artificial intelligence should be grounded in ethical and moral considerations. The Vatican is sounding off on artificial intelligence, y'all.
So the Dan Brown Angels and Demons reference was a great
Thank you,
tease
sir.
to it.
Thank you.
So if you've not read the book or seen the movie, Dan Brown, it's all about the Illuminati and how the Catholic Church came down real hard on science
And
back
the
in the
superconductor and the
that one. And so it came down on Galileo and Copernicus and all of those kinds of things. And so when I first saw this title, I was like, oh God, here we go again. We're bringing back the Illuminati, but this was not that.
Mm-mm.
The Pope had all kind of testimony from a lot of experts from around the world about artificial intelligence. And he came out and said, look, AI is a real thing. It's a good thing, but it has to be controlled. We have to learn to use it as a tool, almost like he was listening to Tech Gumbo for the last couple of years.
He may have been.
Where we've been saying
You
got to
check
learn
your stats. You get listens from all around the world.
Yeah.
So check your stats.
Italy shows up on there. The Vatican, not specific, but I mean,
He might be going remote.
he might. So we've been saying for a long time, this artificial intelligence is a tool. Learn to use the tool, or the tool is going to use you.
Right.
And that's summarizes basically what he said. One of the lines that I really enjoyed: in all areas where humans are called to make decisions, the shadow of evil also looms here. The moral evaluation of the technology will need to take into account how it is directed and used.
All right, that's the part I want to talk about, is because the idea that AI is generated based off of existing information, right?
Right.
So if I'm doing, let's say I were doing a paper on, I'm a student, I'm doing a paper on Mary Magdalene. If someone out there wants to put enough information on the internet that says Mary Magdalene worked at Forever 21, that's going to show up via AI because that's what's fed into the input side of that equation.
And we know this wrong because she was at the Gap.
She was at the Gap.
Sorry.
That's okay. Sorry.
But you garbage in is garbage out.
Right.
That's been true since the beginning of computers. And so when you're using artificial intelligence to write this paper on Mary Magdalene, you can't just say write the paper and then turn it in.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to go through it and you've got to verify this information yourself,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot of what the Pope is saying in this paper.
Right.
That, hey, this is a good tool, but you, the human, have to inject yourself into how it's being used. And you have to oversee, because you're the human, you have a soul, you know how to think. This AI just knows how to compile data.
Right.
And guess at the next word that it needs to be in whatever output it's giving you.
Now, I'm making a reference based off of someone in the Bible, but this is so much bigger than that. And that's where the Pope is going, is what's so much bigger than that, is what leads our hearts.
Right.
What news do we gravitate towards? Forget about religion. What news do we gravitate towards?
Oh, if it bleeds, it leads.
If it bleeds, it leads. If the person across the room from you is evil, then you're going to find a way to have your bias confirmed. You're going to find that confirmation bias repeatedly on the internet, and it's only going to fuel and foment hate.
And the great thing about this article was that the Pope is not anti-technology. He's not anti-corporate. He's not anti-business. He's not anti-right, anti-left. This was not about any of that. This was just about the way that we're using this technology nowadays. And we need to be grounded in the fact that we as humans should not let the AI overlords take over. Stay involved. This the Pope talks about in one of the lines where he talks about, hey, people still need to have jobs. They still need the dignity of earning a wage so they can support their families, and how important that is to human mental health. So use the tool, but use it. Don't let it use you. And it was just such a well-written article. Encourage anybody, go search for the Vatican's paper on artificial intelligence. You can find the whole article. It's real easy. The U.S. bishops has it on their website. It's a great read. I enjoyed it because it just makes me feel better about, okay, hey, look, the Pope is an old guy, so am I, but it's he's not saying stick your head in the sand and go away.
No.
He's being real about it.
Right.
And I respect that part.
He says AI generated fake media can gradually undermine the foundations of society. This issue requires careful regulation, as misinformation, especially through AI controlled or influenced media, can spread unintentionally, fueling political polarization and social unrest. Not dissimilar to when 8 years ago Donald Trump said, "You fake news."
Right.
They're kind of on the same page here. We're just 8 years further down the road to where we've all been fueled by that. We've all been fueled by that polarization. We've all been fueled by being able to silo ourselves away from anybody who disagrees with us. Rather than talking things out, rather than meeting man to man, rather than having personal relationships. If I disagree, I'm blocking you. I'm snoozing you for 30 days.
And the paper also talks about how, like you just said, people have to try not to get into the isolation that living in the AI world can do. You need other human interactions.
Yeah.
And he didn't come out and say, get up away from the computer, turn off your phone, walk around and go smell, God's green earth or anything. But that's kind of the underlying message. It's a really great article. I enjoyed reading it, and I was pleasantly surprised by how good it was.
He is Haggai Davis. We do a cup of tech gumbo every week. We'll continue next. Yeah. Very nice. Were you given any warnings about what is it called when you need a surgery and they have to numb you up? What is it? Anesthesia. I'm told that there's side effects with it. As long as you're fine, everything's fine. But I'm not told when something goes wrong.
You can't have any kind of procedures.
Right.
Yes. But I mean, the diarrhea, all the stuff that you hear about, none of that. Because the difference between semaglutide and tirzepatide is the third ingredient that stifles the nausea. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I have a football for breakfast, a football for lunch, chicken breast, and some salad for dinner.
Yeah.
Calories a day. I used to about 4 or 5.
Well, I'm down 14 pounds so far, but it's over the course of 2 months. And I lost 6 pounds in December, which I think is good for December because you got all the holidays, and then 8 pounds in January, or 8 pounds January 1 through today, which is also good because they had Washington Mardi Gras, and it's King Cake season. No, I'm just eating better and working out. I have a piece of cold water fish and some vegetables for dinner most nights. At least 4 nights a week. It's either a tuna steak or codfish.
I had last night for dinner bowl of soup and half of the chicken breast that was stuffed.
Yeah.
And still, I'm not hungry now.
This report comes to you from the Shawville's Tire and Auto Service Traffic Center.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to redirect people over to the YouTube channel.
Because they kind of go in. The best way I can explain this, it goes into the same feed, like Facebook and YouTube.
When did you
The same audio.
reboot the Facebook feed?
Yeah, it just filters in. That's in my mind. That's how it is. It's like Facebook, you got YouTube. They should be on the same. There's no adjustment I should have to. But
I would reboot the Facebook feed if it's that much.
that's the problem. If I shut down Facebook, we shut down YouTube. So
It's StreamYard.
Yeah.
Oh, you all use the StreamYard? Oh, I love
Now,
StreamYard.
if it was right, and if it was, I think that's kind of the
StreamYard
comes
has
in.
been remarkably convenient so far.
Oh, StreamYard is tremendous. That's how we get through COVID, my year as president.
Yeah, but that's what he's saying is we're shutting down one, we're going to shut them both down.
Right.
And that's kind of the. Oh yeah, if we were on our old system, oh yeah, I'd just reboot Facebook and yeah, it kind of sucks. If they were both bad, I would say let's just shut it down.
Yesterday, 3 different students told their stories about how they got involved in being counselors for other students who are suicide watch. So that it was worth a while for sure.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Like, somebody wants to talk politics every day with me. That's the nature of the job. I know. It's one thing to talk with them,
Right.
because I'll never in all the craziness.
Mhm.
But it's another thing when he's the older guy, I'm breaking on his name, mustache, kind of goofy. He would dress up in different costumes for meetings from time to time.
Winkler?
Yes. He was bitching about Cassidy selling his soul. to
Oh,
go
the medical community is furious at him.
the medical community? Okay. Well, he's a doctor.
I mean-
he didn't sell his soul to shit. He just made a decision he disagrees with. I don't know if he was a doctor.
No, he's not. He runs them. He's the practitioner for a medical clinic.
Gotcha. 653 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got Haggai Davis in front of Protect Gumbo. Haggai, I need 60 seconds here before we get back to you because I got to tell you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. All right. If you are inside of Baton Rouge, you're not going to find a Landmark Bank within the city limits. If you're around Baton Rouge, you are going to find them in Clinton. You're going to find them in Greensburg. You're going to find 2 locations in Zachary. You are going to find them in Denham Springs. You're going to find a brand new location over on the other side of the river in Bruley. And that's by design. We were talking in our last segment about building relationships and not just trusting what's fed to you on the internet. Well, the folks at Landmark Bank are all about building relationships. When you are banking with Landmark Bank, you have a banker. You have someone you can go in and talk to. You have someone you can shake hands with. You have someone you can look in the eye when your decisions are made to grow your business or make some decisions in your own personal life as well. Check them out online at landmarkbankla.com. Landmarkbankla.com. It's personal. It's business. It's all the banking you need, but it's on a personal level. Landmarkbankla.com. All right. Couple Tech Gumbo rolling right along here. Before we put the button on the AI topic, Haggai, I got to ask, everything the Pope has to say is great.
Mhm.
can it be controlled?
To be determined.
Yeah.
Right now, there are still enough guardrails and enough enough people trying
Mm-hmm.
to keep it from getting out of control.
Yeah.
It's when the systems are just turned completely loose and everybody says, whatever. That's when all hell breaks loose.
Yeah. And it's harder to get the rabbit back in the hat once it's out.
Oh yeah, you're not putting that toothpaste back in
Look,
the tube.
Yeah. I love that Mark Twain quote. A lie can get halfway around the world before the truth gets its pants on. I think the quote says boots, but I like pants better. So I'm going to lie within the quote.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
Dating apps have hit a wall. Can they turn things around? I got married in 2001. You got married well before me. So are we the right people to even cover this topic?
So we actually led off talking about this by, looking at my son and saying, okay, this is your world.
Yep.
I'm going to lean on you for your expertise because he has spent time on the dating apps. He's in a very long-term committed relationship now. So he's off of those apps. But for the past 5, 6, 7 years, he was using them because that's what millennials did over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And it's been interesting because the apps, I didn't realize this, but Match.com owns all of the dating apps except for Bumble.
Really?
Yes. And so there's a whole lot of interaction between the different sites. They're exchanging information in the background to help people find people and everything. The problem with these apps is they're putting themselves out of business. If you find you're somebody, your special partner for life, well, you don't need the app anymore.
Right.
And if you whether you find somebody through the app or just because you're not 24 anymore, now you're 29, you're more committed, you find somebody, you don't need the app anymore.
And conversely, if the app sends you to somebody that's not compatible, you're probably not going to use the app anymore.
Or you just keep swiping whichever direction you got to swipe to not see that person.
Okay.
The problem is Gen Z, those coming behind the millennials, aren't as interested in the apps. And so the number of people who are using these apps has dropped dramatically. It's like a 45% total drop in the number of usage. The market value of these publicly traded apps has just dropped off the face of the earth. I mean, it's like they're struggling right now.
So they would all hope to be for a one and done kind of model, right? They would all hope that they could pair you with somebody that you're going to be with for the rest of your life and you're not going to be needed anymore. But that being said, how do you change Gen Z to put them back in the mix of wanting to go for this route?
See, that's just it. The Gen Z they're just a different mindset the way that the millennials were. The millennials were really, really using those apps. The Gen Zs are not. And so this was all really new to me, obviously. I mean, we got married in 1990. That's
right.
I mean, Al Gore hadn't invented the internet yet.
Right.
So it was really interesting to hear my son talking about these apps. And so there's several different ones. Like Bumble was the only standalone one, and their secret sauce was that the woman had to make the choice to go to make the first move, basically, where a guy couldn't reach out to a woman on Bumble. The woman had to reach out. Had brought in a new CEO last summer, and she changed that.
Okay.
And so now all of a sudden Bumble was just like all the rest of the apps, and the usage at Bumble fell 80%, and that CEO is gone.
One of the things that, and like having, I got married in 2001, so that would be well before all these apps as well. But one of the things I've always noticed about them is they try to pair you with your clone. Meeting someone in the real world, you meet someone you have something in common with, but you haven't gone through this whole AI pairing. It
was not really AI. It was always just algorithms. So like you check this box, just this box, they're going to match you up with somebody else who checked that box in this box.
Yeah.
Now they are putting AI into these dating apps, and the AI is like, if you're not very comfortable talking to people, the AI can suggest, hey, use this as a funny line, or, and yes,
Oh God, no.
yes,
Oh, the worst.
and so
We're going to continue over on Facebook Live and on our YouTube channel where you can hear us a lot clearer. He's Haggai Davis, full serving attack gumbo, Saturdays and Sundays right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Always appreciate you, man.
you bet.
Here's news. Okay. You're telling me that, like, AI will be
Your coach, your dating coach.
that shit needs to be disclosed. Like, if I'm the woman in this scenario,
So
I may be like, or just name the app after it. You know what app should be coaching you? Call the app Cyrano. Boom!
there you go. But could you imagine? So this is why these dating apps are going to fail so bad. If this is what's been coaching you how to sound cool, and then you get on your first date and you can't get out of your own way to even say a single word to anybody, you're doomed. Whether it's the guy or the girl, it doesn't matter. I mean, but if you can't hold a conversation because you've been depending upon AI going back across the internet to chat, digitally, not having a voice conversation, and now all of a sudden you pop up and it's like, oh, you're next. That date ends pretty damn quick, and you swipe whatever direction and that person's gone, and now you have less confidence, like you said, in that dating app, and you're not going to use it anymore.
Right.
Maybe I'll just go back to the bar where I got to talk to somebody, go to church and meet somebody at a social,
Yeah.
like we did way back when.
Yeah. But this is like literally, this is Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yes.
This is like,
Yes.
you've got somebody else feeding you lines to make you look cool.
Yes.
Somebody with a giant honker.
And they're taking, you can upload your picture and have AI dress you up, make you a little bit better. All of the things that possibly could go wrong, they're trying to inject these into AI, into these dating apps, and it's just going to doom them. There's a New York Times article, one of the articles we were referencing. This reporter literally was uploading photos of himself, and I don't like the way that shirt looks. I mean, let's try a different shirt. I don't like, if I was to, I don't like that zit. Let me get rid of that zit.
Yes, sir, you do.
And so
we'll have you up here in just a few short
Unfreaking real. And
All right, thank you.
so now you're presenting a false image to go along with the false personality, to go along with, you're not 6'1", to go along,
Yeah.
but all of it combined into one.
Yeah.
I'm
6'6", 220 pounds, and I play in the NBA. Oh, no, you're not. You're an old fat guy in the IT world. Yeah. So that's where this is headed, and it's headed for a crash. I mean, if you've been investing in any of these dating app sites, get your money out now.
Yeah, I saw that, and I saw the New York Times story about the reporter who gets the AI date. That guy was just looking for something fun to expense, wasn't he?
Probably.
Like, let me get to the story here before we get you out of here. It was
About the passwords?
no. Are AI clones the future of dating? I tried them for myself. A New York Times reporter tested a handful of chatbots to see if they could help improve his dating life. The number of times I've said something was show prep when, like, it was just, something for, and I use it in the show, so it's show prep, yes. But this guy wanted to do this and then decided to write about it after the fact. He did this and he wanted to expense it.
Sure.
So he wrote a story about it. Guarantee you.
Yeah. And, there was another story we talked about, the New York Times. The first article they published was in 1996. in the mid 80s when they had an opportunity to buy the URLs NYT.com or
I saw that
NY
one of the
Times.
reporters bought it.
Yeah, they had two tech writers at the New York Times. One had bought NYT.com, the other one bought NYTimes.com. And so in the mid 90s, all of a sudden the New York Times says, "Oh, we need these websites." Oh, they've already been bought. Really? Yeah, got down to the. So they just walked down there and the reporter said, "Oh yeah, you can have it." But now go back to the 90s. How much do you think that was really worth? Nobody knew what the internet was back then.
I would have held on to it. I would have quit my job and held on to it.
But if you wanted to keep your job,
I don't know. So another day or so back in the house? Okay. But at least you're back under your roof. Ew. Yeah. 7:05, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Busy hour this hour. We got Dr. Cade Brumley coming up at 7:15. We got Crimestoppers at 7:35. Normally we would have top stories in trending right here, but there is no bigger story in Louisiana or the world than the Super Bowl this weekend. So let's check in down in New Orleans. We're trying to get at least one check in a day. Today we got Mark Remig with New Orleans and Company. Mark, how are you, man?
Hey, Brian, it's so good to hear your voice, and we are having a blast here at the convention center.
So I'm hoping to make a rundown today after the show is over with, make my second rundown. I was in on Tuesday, so you've been down there every day. Well, obviously you're always down there, but how big was the explosion of people yesterday? Because yesterday was really the big ramp up.
Yeah, so we're talking media center. The layout here is what we call Radio Row, and there were celebrity after athlete just walking through, talking with stations from all over the world, speaking about their experiences here in New Orleans and how much they are looking forward to the game on Sunday. Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Jaden Daniels, the list goes on of the superstars that have been working through here. And again, it's just part of all the excitement that's happening. And with the big game coming up on Sunday, I think it's going to be a historic game, no matter who the victor is. We're set. We've been working at this about 6.5 years.
I mean, three-peat is history on the one side for sure, and putting a stop to the juggernaut that is the Kansas City Chiefs is history. It'd be a big game on the other side. But Mark, I got to tell you, all the events surrounding it, it's bigger now than it was when Baltimore and San Francisco were in a few years ago.
Oh, it definitely is. I think the footprint, or let's just say what the campus looks like, is tremendous. We've got about 26,000 or so hotel rooms that are within a mile and a half of the Caesars Superdome. All those are filled. We've got events and parties every day, every night. Tonight is the NFL Honors, the big event where they honor the best in the sport. We've got the parade on Saturday, which is the first time we've done a Mardi Gras style parade through the streets of downtown and the French Quarter. And of course, the NFL fans are in, whether they're Philadelphia Eagles fans or Kansas City fans or just fans of football. They're all over the place and having a great time.
Talk to me a little bit about all the progress that was made, all the improvements that were made leading up to the Super Bowl, because a lot of work went in by multiple outlets, multiple agencies, whether you're talking about New Orleans and Company, whether you're talking about the city itself, DOTD, whatever. A lot of work went in. Everybody I've had on, I've asked the same question. Let's go report card here. Give it a grade for all the work that got done.
Yeah, there were about 400 or so infrastructure projects that were on this checklist to get done within a compact period of time. I mean, here you go. You've invited the world to come to your city and your community. You want to look as good as possible. And so if we're going to roll out the reddest of red carpets, streets, lighting, sidewalks, striping, I mean, even to the minuteness of making sure that the crosswalk is working. All of that in preparation for the big game. And the good thing about it, and I'm a citizen, I live in New Orleans, is that these projects will be lasting for several years. And it's great for the visitors this week. but it's really wonderful for the citizens of Louisiana, and particularly those that live in New Orleans and the greater New Orleans area, to see the upgrades that have occurred.
For those that live and work downtown, for those that work downtown in the CBD and whatnot, how I would imagine it's been rough to get to and from work this week. That's
Yeah,
the business we've chosen, but it's how has that coordination and collaboration been?
well, I think the communication around that has been very proactive, so that people can plan their week. Come Monday, will all just dissipate. But packing your patience a little bit. There's a great site called ready.nola.gov/Super Bowl that gives you all the road closures and where you would pick up a ride share or where you would drop off. And I've got friends that work in the downtown area, and they've just adjusted their work schedule as COVID taught us all. Hybrid work can work for most places, and so this week I think people have chosen to just modify how they work and just be proud of the fact that we've got this great game happening, and New Orleans was chosen for the 11th time. And let me back up. Louisiana was chosen for the 11th time. Of course, New Orleans is the host city. But Governor Landry and his team have used this as an opportunity to message out to the community around the country and around the world that New Orleans and Louisiana is open for business. And we want your business here. We want your families to live here. And that gives us another opportunity to talk about all the great things happening.
Now, when I was down on Tuesday, I visited Louisiana Now. LED Secretary Susan Bourgeois, the big, I don't want to call it a tent, because once you get inside, it's not a tent. It's a wonderful exhibit or a wonderful display of what we have to offer. There's a lot being utilized on the business development front as well. How tied in is New Orleans and Company on that end?
Very much so. We work very closely with Michael Hecht and G&O Inc., and of course what Secretary Susan Bourgeois has done. Even at their arrival points, you've got a number of corporate execs coming into Lakefront Airport as well as Louis Armstrong International Airport, and the greeting starts there. The greeting starts right when they first come in. We want to, I said earlier, rolling out the red carpet to ensure that they know that we appreciate them being here, that we want them to have a good time, but we also want to tell the great story about what else is happening in the community and along the Gulf Coast here in Louisiana. The energy work, the work with NASA and building the Artemis rocket, the new project happening in North Louisiana with the AI project. So it's all of that coming together for us to tell great stories.
Got about a minute and a half left with Mark Remig. All right, we're going to pivot from New Orleans and Company over to you. Every Saints fan listening right now, as soon as you're on, recognizes the voice. I got to ask, you don't get to do this for the Super Bowl too, do you?
No. Actually, there's a great announcer that the NFL has used for several Super Bowls. His name is Alan Roach. He is the in-house play-by-play for the Minnesota Vikings, and he also works with the Colorado Avalanche. He's done a lot of Olympic games. So when you hear his voice, you recognize it. But yeah, he's sort of their in-house Super Bowl announcer. Great announcer. I will be listening to him to pick up some pointers. And it's a privilege. My dad, Jerry, actually announced the first 4 Super Bowls here in New Orleans back starting in 1970, which was a great honor for him. He counted those 4 games as highlights of his career.
Mark Remig, you know him as the voice in the Superdome. You know him every time you go to a Saints game, but also holding it down with New Orleans and Company. I appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Thank you for the update.
Thanks, Brian. You have a great weekend.
I'll be on the lookout for you when I get down there, too. We'll see you soon.
Yep.
All right.
Yes, sir.
713 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, 32nd in the nation. Happy with it? Yes. Satisfied? No. We'll talk with Cade Brumley next. What you say? Yeah, I was down to Louisiana now. Have you seen it yet? No. It is. It is. When I was down there, it was. They had a whole king cake thing going on for media. It was like the media day at the thing. So. Kill the mics. Yeah, and we're not sharing that publicly. So, all right, so here we go.
Oh man. Oh, that's great.
Virtual Jeff, how about that?
That is good.
That's
That's cool.
And it's a whole like they have all these individual with the video outlets down the middle, and it just shows off a whole bunch of the state.
It's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of interactive video. I promise I'm not contagious or anything. It's the cough.
Thanks for making me feel better.
Yeah, it's still hanging around from Washington Mardi Gras.
Oh my god.
716 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. One is with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Let's pivot over to talk a little bit about education. 32nd in the nation is the highest Louisiana has ever gotten on our national report card. Joining us now to talk about how we got there, well, the man at the top, Dr. Cade Brumley. How are you, sir?
Hey, thanks for having me, and it's good to be in here with you in person today.
I know. We have you in the studio. That's awesome.
It's great.
Highest ever national ranking for the report card. How did we get there, and how do we continue to move up?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's the place that Louisiana has never been. I mean, if you ask someone, where do you think Louisiana K-12 education ranks? For those of us who've lived here forever, you always hear, well, we're 49th, we're 50th. Thank God for Mississippi. You know the things that you hear. But in 2019, we were ranked on the nation's report card. We were ranked number 49th in the country. In 2022, we made progress. I think we ranked 43rd.
Mm-hmm.
And when the feds put out the nation's report card last week, Louisiana is now ranked 32nd in the country. And that, that's the big story. But there are underlying components of that I also think are really worthy of discussion. For example, for the second consecutive cycle of the nation's report card, both 22 and 24, Louisiana fourth graders led the entire country in reading growth.
Yes.
And this time we were in the top 5 for math growth. Special education students with disabilities outperform the national average. Students that come from economically challenged homes outperform the national average. So a lot of good movement there. And I really just think it's a testament to the hard work that teachers are doing every day in the classrooms. And I think that obviously, while this is great news and we can be pleased, we can't be satisfied because too many kids still aren't reading on grade level. Too many kids still aren't doing math on grade level. And there are too many students that are unfortunately stuck in failing schools.
If we've still got too many students not reading on grade level, at what grade are they not reading on grade level? Because I feel like if you've moved all the way up to 16th in the nation, is a poor testament to everybody else around the country, or does that just mean that the numbers are catching up grade by grade?
Yeah, no, that's a great question too. So in 2022, I would have shared with you that our movement in the rankings was because we had some growth in reading, but also we fared better with our approach to education during the pandemic than everyone else. But it's a different story in 2024. When you look at our scores in 2024 in both reading and math, we're moving. We're moving in the right direction. So it's a combination of us moving in the right direction and, unfortunately, truly unfortunately, other states falling. So it's a combination of those things. But Louisiana's fourth graders are number 16 in the country. So Louisiana's fourth graders are reading at a level that ranks them 16th in the country for proficiency.
Which is great, which means that the next time this report card comes out, they'll be up to 6th grade, and those who were at 4th grade for the last report card are going to be up to 8th grade by then. All things moving where they're supposed to be moving. But as everybody moves up, that proficiency moves up grade by grade along with them.
Yeah. And look, I think that if you look at our numbers, our students in elementary schools are scoring a little higher than students in middle school. There's no surprise there to me. Two reasons. Number one, those students in kindergarten through fourth, fifth grade have been able to experience the comprehensive set of reforms that we've worked with the legislature, our state board of education, school systems to implement. So they've experienced all of that for their entire experience. But also, those middle schoolers were pandemic impacted.
Right.
You know, they were having to undergo, a closed school in 2020, start and stop in 2021. And so they were naturally more impacted than the children that are in the elementary schools today.
Yeah, at the time where they where they build that foundation, for sure.
Right.
We got Dr. Cade Brumley in with us talk about the nation's report card. So fourth grade math 38th, eighth grade math 43rd. A lot of the reading side I'm going to attribute to the Steve Carter initiative. Some of the reading side.
Well,
you've got 2 years worth of it under the belt.
No, it's a great program, but Steve Carter serves less than 5,000 kids. And we've got 700,000 kids in the.
No, I mean when it moved over to the state capitol, when that bill got passed, and we're moving towards that with the initiative and the high dosage tutoring and everything that's been implemented on the reading side now. Now that we're implementing that with a numeracy objective as well, is this where we're going to start to see the movement on the math side?
Yeah, so our Steve Carter tutoring program is a program that serves about 5,000 kids across the state. They get vouchers for private tutoring in the afternoons. That's one of the pieces of legislation around our science of reading strategy that has about a dozen or so bills that have been implemented. So our reading strategy is the right one. But now what we're trying to do is the same for math. And we began that last year. We had a lot of support legislatively, state board with school systems, et cetera. The governor signed some bills. So the Achilles heel, truly, with these data are, both in Louisiana and across the country, math scores declining from fourth to eighth grade. It's unfortunate. The longer that a student is in school, their math outcomes decline, and that's not the way that you want to go. And so we're trying to be the first country that flips that. For us, it's, going back to the basics, the science of reading, foundational math skills. It's making sure that we are supporting teachers, letting them teach, making sure they're paid competitively, accelerating parental rights and expanding ed freedom so that parents can access a portfolio of neighborhood schools or public charters or non-public schools.
Okay, so getting back to the legislature, you've clearly got the buy-in from the legislature. They're on board.
Yeah, look, we had it at our press event last week. We were able to have, so many legislators that joined us there for that event, and they've been, they have been champions for the work, and truly, like, reading improvement and math improvement, these have been really nonpartisan, like across party line issues that everyone's just, been able to get on board with.
But you've also got the buy-in from the teacher level as well.
Look, our teachers, we have amazing teachers in the state of Louisiana, and I remain committed to doing everything that I can to, like, removing bureaucracy from them, elevating their pay in a professional way, removing distractions from the classroom. But we can only do so much at the state level. That takes strong local leadership.
Yeah.
Locals to say, look, we're going to make sure that teachers are supported. We're going to make sure that we're not burdening them with excessive workloads. We're going to make sure that if there are distractions in the classroom, that they're removed and that they show the teachers the way in which they value them. And I think that that's truly important. And I think our legislature and our state board, we have done a lot of work to allow local systems to be able to provide an environment where their teachers can teach free of distraction. And it just takes strong implementation.
Well, and it takes a lot of trust as well. I mean, you've got to, from the beginning, you said let the districts run their districts, and then you've also got the mentality of let teachers teach. When empowered in that way, we're finding that the teachers are sprinting in their lanes because that's the power you've given them.
Yeah, and look, our workforce that we have of teachers has grown. So we've reduced vacancies, but I think kids don't belong to the government; they belong to their parents. And first and foremost, the parent is the most important factor, but right after that is the teacher. And we as a society have to be committed to making sure that schools are staffed with teachers because the future depends on it.
We got Dr. Cade Brumley in with the state's superintendent of education. So buy-in legislatively, buy-in on the district level, buy-in on the teacher level. Where are we at when it comes to buy-in on a personal level with parents and students themselves?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think student motivation is really important. We have a lot of conversations around making learning relevant, making it fun, and so I think the more of that we can do, the better off we'll be. I think the more that we can make sure that schools are transparent and welcoming to parents, the better off we're going to be. But one of the major challenges that the state of Louisiana is facing right now, Brian, is just chronic absenteeism. And I would say that while these numbers are going in the right direction, unfortunately, school attendance is going in the wrong direction. And it's a problem nationally, but it truly is a problem in Louisiana, where we are just seeing really high levels of school absences over the last several years since the pandemic. And to solve this, you have to have clean data at the school. You have to have district attorneys willing to engage. You have to have the juvenile court system willing to engage. You have to have social and safety net and faith-based organizations willing to support. But it really, in many ways, is a system that has to improve because it would be we are not maxing out on potential when students are experiencing so much of a high degree of absenteeism from school.
How tough is it to get that engagement? Because I would imagine in the bigger cities, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, maybe Shreveport, hell, even Hammond, where you have a violent crime problem, getting the local authorities to care about skipping school, it's a big ask.
Yeah, no, that's right. And what we know to be true is whenever you talk with some of the district attorneys, heck, even here in Baton Rouge, they will tell you that if you look at individuals that have committed violent crime, and you look back at their attendance records in school, there is a strong correlation between those two things. I'm not suggesting it's causal, but certainly there's a correlation between those two things. But those DA offices are dealing with, as you said, significant issues, and can they divert funds or resources or personnel to go out into communities and work with families to make sure that kids are in school? I mean, I think it's a big and important question.
Well, not to be too Pollyanna about it, but if you look at their attendance records and then look at the grades and the scores for those who are skipping school, I'm guessing it's not the ones who are having the high reading scores and math scores who are skipping. It's those who get disengaged because they're not learning at the right pace that they end up clocking themselves out.
Yeah, and in the same way, there's a correlation between violent crime and attendance. The same is true for grades,
right?
For a student who is enrolled in a school, whether it's public school or non-public school, attendance does matter. And so hopefully we can get everyone on board to do their part within their local communities, whether it's the school system or the DAs or the juvenile judges or the support networks. It's something that has to improve in our state and across the country.
We got just a couple minutes left with Dr. Cade Brumley. Want to move the conversation over to not how do we move forward with the reading and math. We're on the right pace there, but we've shown that nurturing the reading and math, nurturing the basics shows results. How do we go from reading and math to getting the rest of the school subjects back in the mix without losing focus?
Yeah, I've been a proponent of narrowing the focus of the school system. I think for too long, schools have tried to do too many things, and they were never ordained to do those things. Schools need to teach children how to read, how to do math. They need to understand and appreciate the history of their country, science. But schools aren't necessarily designed to be a social worker or a nurse or all these things. I'm not suggesting that students don't need those services if the parent, is on board. What I'm saying is it's not the right approach to have the teacher deliver those services.
Right.
They're not trained for that. It's a disservice to the teacher. It's a disservice to the kid. So we're doing everything within our power to narrow the focus, specifically in the elementary schools, on those foundational core subjects that we believe will set the students up for success in high school, where we have a new obligation around what the high school experience should look like.
That's where I was going, though, is like, how do we get those sciences and social sciences back in?
Yeah. Well, so in the high school piece, we have to be more purposeful. And I think I want to compliment our school systems here on making some transitions here, but we want to make sure that every student that is intending to go to college has an opportunity to earn college credits in high school. Want to make sure that students who want to go to a career have opportunities to experience that, earn credentials or internships or apprenticeships, or students who want to go to service, whether it's military, social, religious, they have an opportunity to engage in service opportunities while in high school. And so we are moving down that pathway. And it's really an opportunity that we have because not many states are really thinking about what's the purpose of a high school, whereas we are.
He is our superintendent of education, Dr. Cade Brumley. It's just great news with 32nd. And like you said, we're happy but not satisfied.
That's right. Got to keep pushing.
I always appreciate the time,
Thanks,
sir.
Brian.
Thank
Yes,
you so
sir.
much for hopping in today. We got news coming up in about 30 seconds. Got to remind you, Talk 107.3 FM and Citizens Bank and Trust want to help cover your car payments. It's a $5,000 grand prize with a bonus chance to win free car washes from Benny's Car Wash for 6 months. We're also letting you earn extra entries by subscribing to our Talk 107.3 Baton Rouge YouTube channel. To sign up, visit talk1073.com. We're going to take a break here, check news, traffic, weather. When we come back, we got Don, I believe we got Don Capola in for Crimestoppers. Yep, there's the man right now. Don Capola is going to be in for Crimestoppers right after that. Next hour, David St. Romain, we're going to visit with him. He's going to be posted up in New Orleans for some Super Bowl coverage. We'll talk about why later on. What's happening? Hang on.
He's up there. Hey, bro, there's a lot.
How you been?
I've been good. Staying busy, doing well.
Yeah. Same. Shoot. I meant to ask Cade Brumley about something. My brother's doing training right now. He's getting some training here in Baton Rouge.
Oh yeah.
He's on his way to be a principal.
Okay.
So yeah, he's
In Baton Rouge or where?
yeah. Well, in Morgan City.
Oh, nice.
But he's come out here. He's come out here for some training. But yeah. I have to pick his brain. Let's see.
Oh, goodness.
I know, Debbie. The Facebook crew is one thing, and while we're building up the YouTube channel, yeah, the lack of audience we have there, it's unfortunate. But like I said, we're trying to build it up now, so it's going to take some getting used to. But yeah, just for instances like this, it's an alternative.
How are you?
There's no alternative at all. So thanks for tuning in.
I don't even know.
Being part of the
I
show.
don't even
Being
know.
part of the conversation.
I have more caffeine in me than I have blood.
Hey, I just made a pot.
Oh, yeah?
You make a green
Over here?
downstairs.
What? Man, you do
I
deserve a
don't
key.
play, bro.
You do deserve a key.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
We're working on it. And I'm going to make sure.
Wait, working on a key or working on just me buzzing in?
No, being able to buzz in so that
What about the key?
we're not buying any more keys. If my key breaks, I don't have a key anymore. We're done with
Just let Gordy know I made coffee.
I will let him know you made
And if there's nothing downstairs, I go to the cafeteria, which it's not my favorite place to be.
because it's the morgue. We're scared of the ghosts.
Listen, one time some guy was down there that scared me to death because I didn't see him at first, and he popped up. I'm like,
We're haunted.
I know.
You know, during a snowstorm, I stayed here.
Oh,
And I got to tell you, you ever seen The Shining?
yes.
Very similar.
And hopefully they. I've been here so long. I mean, hopefully they recognize my familiar with me. But
So I've got to bang out a live read before we get into it.
that's fine.
And I don't want to
Okay, are we going to mention the school issue?
Oh, if you want, yeah.
All right, just to remind people if they see something, say something.
Hard not to see something when parents are beating the shit out of each other in a middle school basketball game.
Hey, or teachers videoing elementary kids fighting.
Preschoolers. The stories of preschoolers.
Okay, well, I just know River Oaks Elementary. I went there.
Oh.
Hey, are we off?
Yeah.
All right, when are we getting relief from this heat? Here's your forecast with McCain and Callahan. Seven 37 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Before we get into Crimestoppers, got to ask you if you got your lunch plan set yet. If not, might I recommend the folks over at PF Chang's. Love me some PF Chang's, y'all. It's a great lunch spot. It's a great dinner spot. It's a great lunch spot. If you want to get in, eat something good, eat something. It's not, when you think Chinese food, you think like takeout and you get the greasy and the heavy and it just weighs you down, makes you feel awful. It tastes great, makes you feel awful. It's not what you get at PF Chang's. What you get at PF Chang's is better quality ingredients leading to a healthier meal, leading to a more enjoyable meal and a productive afternoon after you swing by for lunch. So if you do not yet have your lunch plans, hit up PF Chang's. They're in Town Center, right there off of Corporate Boulevard. Look for the giant golden horse. I'm a Mongolian beef guy. I also like the spicy chicken. My wife loves the lettuce chicken wraps. They're going to have something to your liking on the menu. I've yet to find anything on the menu that I don't absolutely love. If you, oh, and by the way, maybe not for lunch, but a little bit after lunch, got great specials over at the bar as well. So check them out for lunch, check them out for dinner. Wonderful food, even better atmosphere, even better service than that. It's PF Chang's. Look for the giant golden horse. Time for Crimestoppers. Let's go.
My wife's texting me right now. Now I want PF Chang's. She's like, I want a lettuce wrap.
I think you should surprise her with it. There you go.
Yes, it is time for Crimestoppers, and yes, we welcome in Lieutenant Don Capola. How are you, man?
Hey, good morning, Brian. How are you?
Doing very well as well.
I wouldn't expect anything less.
Thank you. And on your end, too.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know where to start today, Don.
We have a lot.
We were going to look for some fugitives for sure, but there's been a number of stories in the news over the last day.
Yes.
Just the day.
Just a day
Of things going sideways in the school system. Can we start with the brawl at the basketball game?
Sure.
From Crimestoppers' point of view here, obviously we all know if you see something, say something. But this is one where not only was something seen, but something was posted online.
Yes.
And this really got out of hand at a middle school basketball game to a criminal level. From Crimestoppers' perspective, what's the message here?
Well, the message would be, if you see something, say something. And, you know, you don't know if this could have just happened on the whim.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that this was a planned thing, but if it was a planned thing, then we want that information before.
Right.
You know, at the time, people have their phones out, they're posting things, but what they post of the incident may not be the incident entirety. It may just be, you know, this portion of it, which makes this person look to be the aggressor when maybe it was the other person that was the aggressor. Okay, you don't see the whole story.
It's like they always say in sports. They always say in sports, it's always the second person gets caught.
Exactly.
Right.
So what we want people to know is the P3 Tips app. You can post those videos. You can submit those videos to us in its entirety. Show everything, so that way investigators can go back and see everything versus just, oh, well, this is what happened, and well, no, there's more to the story.
Right. All right, and then the more to the story though is probably going to generate before any of the video.
Exactly.
So
you know, obviously there may have been some kind of talking, some kind of pushing, shoving, whatever it may be.
Here's where I'm going with this: is if you were at the game and you saw this all go down and you saw the video pop up, then your thought process might be, well, you could see the parties involved in the video, so there's no reason for me to say anything. What you're saying from Crimestoppers' perspective is, if you were at the game and you saw this all go down, you saw what happened before the video started, that's the person that needs to call 344 stop and say, no, don't charge person 2, charge person 1, or here's what I saw.
Here's what I saw. Maybe take a look. If you didn't have this information, this is what started this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we're asking.
Meanwhile, you had another incident where at an elementary school with, little bitty kids getting beat up.
Right.
You know, I know we talk with iCare once a month,
mm-hmm.
But I don't. This is even before an iCare message can get through.
Yeah.
We're talking young here.
We're talking young, and you know, people send their kids to school, and school is the safe haven, or it should be.
Should be.
You should feel safe at school. Well, you have an incident, and not everyone is going to get along and be happy go lucky all the time. But the disturbing part in this is when you have educators that are laughing, that are filming, and encouraging this behavior at such a young age, regardless of age.
Mm-hmm.
That's becomes an issue.
Well, and this isn't a Crimestoppers perspective. I'm asking you from a law enforcement perspective. Are the teachers going to be charged?
Well,
obviously, discipline can be meted out by Lamont Cole as the superintendent, but are there criminal charges here as well to idly sit by and watch pre-Kers waylay each other?
Well, and we're not going to get involved in the specifics of the investigation, and I don't want to say one way or the other out of respect.
Okay.
For that in this investigation, but it's just something you would not expect to see go on out of educators or anybody, any grown adult. Let's break this up, find out what's going on, why this started, and deal with it to ensure that it doesn't happen again.
Well, for those that don't know the story, two pre-K teachers at River Oaks Elementary in Baton Rouge were put, and I'm reading from the Advocate, were put on paid leave after a parent complained to the school about a fight among students. One of the teachers captured on video and laughed about it rather than intervening. Now, Lamont Cole has said this is disgusting.
Yes.
Teachers are on leave. I'd be shocked if they come back at all. But my concern here is beyond that. My concern here is you're actively watching pre-Kers, like, who are in the midst of a Royal Rumble, like that in and of itself, that child's care is in your hands.
Exactly.
And that is a betrayal of trust with the public, to be sure. But I would think something so much worse.
And then a local high school, someone brought a gun, concealed a gun under a was it a wheelchair?
It was a cushion of his wheelchair.
A cushion. Yeah.
Which, that goes back around to, first of all, great that they caught it. Great that they caught it, right? That he didn't get further than he did. And I don't know if there was an intent to use that gun or if he was just bringing it to show off or whatever. But glad that they caught it. But this is another area where, and Lamont Cole's still new to the job. Like he took over midstream last year. I don't put these problems at his feet. Oh no, I don't put the blame at his feet, but the problems are definitely there for him to solve.
Yes, he does a great job, and I think with him these problems will be solved, and I don't foresee them happening again.
Fugitives. What are we looking at today?
Well, before we get to fugitives, still on the school, we have our Hope Initiative PSA contest.
Okay.
The deadline is tomorrow.
Okay.
So this is open to any school, grades 9 through 12.
Okay.
And what this is social media is one of the quickest and most efficient ways to raise awareness. Because of the heightened numbers of drug use, of vaping, we're asking the students to come together and make a 1 to 2 minute video on the dangers of this. And this isn't the first time. This is, we've done this a few years. But the first place video will receive $1,500. The second place receives $1,000. Third place is $500. And then the teachers of these students will also receive a $500 gift card for their efforts. So again, that deadline is tomorrow. You can get the information off of the Crimestoppers website, crimestoppers225.com. So enter, submit those videos, and good luck to all.
All right, good stuff. At least for high schoolers, grades 9 through 12. The link to the page, the link to submit about the contest, is posted up on the Crimestoppers Facebook page.
Yeah, it should be the first post on the page.
So if you want that jumping off point, it's right there. Who are we looking for today?
We're East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office is looking for a Zion Jefferson. Zion Jefferson, 43 years old, on the charge of second-degree kidnapping, aggravated assault with a firearm, and battery of a dating partner. Investigators believe that Jefferson had an argument which quickly escalated into a physical altercation with a female acquaintance. He forced that female into a vehicle against her will while armed with a handgun. Got physical. So again, Zion Jefferson, 43, went on those charges by the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
Dane Berry is also wanted by the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office on 2 counts of violation of protective orders. This goes what was talked about before with domestic violence.
Okay.
These victims put this order in place, and a lot of times they're violated through either text messages, through phone calls, or the accused stalking this victim.
Okay.
So again, Dane Berry wanted on 2 counts of violation of protective order. Denham Springs Police Department, and this is also on our Facebook page, is looking for Jonathan Barth, 20 years old, Mickey Barker, 19, Aiden Jackson, 18, and Adalen Stiles,
Oh, yeah,
20.
yeah, 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 and
This
I
is
I
the
gotta look at
incident.
this one.
Yeah, this
Yep.
incident occurred in a parking lot of a local business where investigators believe that these four were involved in jumping and beating another person
Mhm.
believed to be at one time a friend of all these people. So I'm not sure what happened with that, but so yeah, these four wanted on charges of
Second-degree
second-degree
battery and criminal
battery and criminal
conspiracy.
conspiracy. Yes.
Yeah, and this rejected boy band out of Denham Springs, these 4, I saw the story, and then read up on the rest of it, and it looked very, very targeted. This did not look random.
No, this not at all. Investigators believe that this was a targeted act, and if you have any information on any of these or the other fugitives we mentioned or fugitives we have posted,
Mhm.
pick up the phone, go to our P3 Tips app or our website, and get us that information. And your information could lead to a cash reward.
344-STOP is the phone number, 344-STOP, or like we always talk about that P3 Tips app. Better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. I've got it. I'm still yet to use it.
Well, at least you have it.
I know.
You're ready.
I know. I almost got to use it the other day.
At a basketball game.
No. Oh, this. You know, normally I'm trying to get you, and then today you got me. Oh, he's Don Capola with you Crimestoppers every week. We always appreciate the time.
Thank you, Brian.
It's coming up on 7:51 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, let's nope. David St. Rain's next hour. Quick break. We're coming back next.
That's pretty good.
Shit, that was good. That was so good.
Hey, can you the mics?
Coming up next hour, we're going to have David St. Romain joining us. David's going to be part of the festivities for on Media Row down in New Orleans as soon as he gets his credentials squared away. But we want to talk about why David St. Romain is going to be on Media Row for the Super Bowl. It's coming up at 8:15. Programming note in real time. Tomorrow, and I got to get a time on this one. ABR School Superintendent Lamont Cole going to join us. We're talking about this unbelievable 24-hour span in Baton Rouge schools where you had pre-Kers fighting, pre-Kers waylaying each other. You had a brawl in a middle school basketball game, and you had a kid trying to sneak a gun into a school under the cushion of his wheelchair. As we were talking about this, I understand I don't put the blame at Lamont Cole's feet, but the problem is at his feet to be solved there. He inherited a lot of a mess. You're talking about generations worth of this stuff leaving the rails. But the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? I mean, the fact that it's been like this for a while doesn't change the fact that it needs to be corrected. So what are you going to do about it? Well, Superintendent Cole texted during the segment and says, I can come on. I said, good, let's get you on tomorrow morning. So top of the hour break, I'm going to run upstairs. I keep a old school paper schedule. It's I'm not digital on the schedule. So we're going to run down a time, and we'll hear from Lamont Cole tomorrow about this particular topic. Right now, though, there's another topic to cover, and it takes us back to New Orleans. The Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, and you heard our news partners over at Louisiana Radio Network talking about this as well. The Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office is teaming up with the nonprofit group Our Backyard to host an anti-trafficking operation or a number of anti-trafficking operations during Super Bowl week. Now, human traffickers often use major events like the Super Bowl to exploit vulnerable people, especially children. Cheryl Chickey, the executive director of In Our Backyard, says human trafficking is not the same as kidnapping or the same as human smuggling.
Human trafficking is a grooming process where someone gains someone's trust because there's a natural vulnerability in all of us, whether it's a job promise, whether it's a relationship.
Chickey says, in fact, more than 50% of human trafficking victims knew the person who was trafficking them. She says this is the 15th year that our organization has teamed up with law enforcement in the Super Bowl host city to raise awareness of the issue.
We want to be looking for these kids before predators are trying to target them. So that's kind of our biggest initiative that's been going on for the past 15 years.
Now, Chickey says the group offers actionable tips and gathering intelligence on suspected human trafficking activity.
This is actually an opportunity to help increase recovery, increase opportunity to freedom for others so that they can see it as a positive light.
So far, they're 10 days in. So far, they've already turned in 27 instances of suspected human trafficking. I would have to imagine, though, that when you start to dig a little bit deeper, it's difficult to cite from the sidelines, right? But you want to err towards the side of caution for that sort of thing. All right, we got news coming up in a little bit less than a minute. Time for me to tell you about the folks over at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Now is the time, y'all. Planning your summer vacation, planning the family getaway. If you're flying, might I suggest BTR? Might I suggest keeping it in town for so many different reasons? Number one, the overall experience is just better. The overall experience is just better. The TSA line is not that unbelievable snake that got down to New Orleans. That you don't have to make the drive down to New Orleans. You don't have to deal with the parking down in New Orleans and the parking costs in New Orleans. What you're dealing with here is our airport in our backyard. No, by the way, it's good for business in Baton Rouge when we utilize Baton Rouge. Check out your options at flybtr.com, flybtr.com. Right, let me go run down time for Lamont. we got a show tomorrow, yo. Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company at 6:35. Lamont Cole at 7:15. Yeah. Did we ever get any better on Facebook? Is anybody commenting at all? I'm not even over there. I didn't share it back to my page today.
How's the audio, Facebook?
Yeah,
has it improved any? Debbie says she went over to the YouTube, but nobody was there. I was kind of talking to her about it earlier. Yeah, we don't have the audience quite yet on YouTube, but
yeah,
nonetheless,
so
it is an option. Right?
we soft launched YouTube, and we're trying to push subscriptions right now, with our contests. But yeah, I haven't been.
Oh, it's better. Renee says it's better
on YouTube, or it's better on Facebook. Yeah. So the way it sounded to me, it sounded like a over modulation, like it was too loud, so it was clipping.
Yeah.
And if it's clipping, instead of giving it garbled, it was just muting. So there's no way a setting changed on Facebook's end.
No way. Yeah.
But there is a way that what's fed to Facebook and what's fed to YouTube come in at different accepted levels.
Right.
So
that's understandable. Yeah.
Which would put the onus back on us to turn it down.
Yeah. And there's no telling if another show's produced or something that maybe they had to turn it up. I don't know.
Well, they had whatever was jacked up last night. So
strange. Steve Range.
All right. 806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hour 3 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. We are starting off your third hour this morning at an absolutely disgusting 70 degrees. It's going to get hotter. It's going to get hotter. In fact, look at Ed. You heard that forecast from Emma Cade Cowan. When is the relief in sight? I mean, it's not swelteringly hot, but it's not February temperatures either. This is not mid-Mardi Gras season, right? A high of 81 today. Going to get to 82 on Saturday and Sunday. A lot of rain in the forecast for next week with temperatures in the mid-70s. So on the back end of that, I don't think we're going to get any of that polar vortex down here, or at least it's not looking like it, at least through the 15th. But gross. unseasonably warm. This hour, David St. Romain joins us in our next segment. He's en route, or he's headed down to New Orleans. Supposed to be broadcasting from Media Row, but why? That's what I want to talk about with David. I mean, there's, is well over 100, probably closer to 200 different media outlets on Media Row, radio stations, TV stations, bloggers, podcasters, not bloggers. The bloggers are upstairs in the workroom. Podcasters are out and about. I mean, there's more than 6,000 quote unquote journalists in New Orleans, or members of the media in New Orleans already. Or Tuesday night, there were more than 6,000 attending that party at Mardi Gras World. That number has exploded since then. We'll talk with David about what his role is down there, what kind of story he's down there to tell, or going down there to tell. That's at 8:15. 8:35. Have you heard of the Baton Rouge Underground Film Festival? Well, it's been it's on its way. August 2025, August of this year is when you will find the inaugural event. We're going to talk with a representative from that festival, Mr. Joe Callahan, at 8:35 about what to expect from it. Right now, though, before we get you to this day in history, got to remind you about the folks over at Vex European. VEX, V as in Vinny. VexEuropean.com is the website. I tell you about them every day. I absolutely love the relationship that I've got with Vex European because Vinny and his team know how to take care of my car. My car's a little bit older, 17 years old. They know how to take care of it. They know how to keep it running. And I know that I get an expert level technician when I go to VexEuropean.com for something as simple as an oil change or any repair needed up the line. I've got a Mercedes, they can handle Mercedes. If you've got a BMW, they've got a tech that works BMW. They work Jaguar, they work Land Rover. In fact, go to VexEuropean.com, hit the little drop-down tab where it says vehicles, find your vehicle there. Now, if you find your vehicle there, little pro tip, go over and hit the specials tab. See if you can't save a little money on your first visit. It starts at VexEuropean.com. This day in history, let's roll.
All right, let's start off in 1899. The Spanish-American War ends, and a peace treaty was ratified by the Senate.
Okay.
Today.
Hey,
speaking of wars and division, 1935, the board game Monopoly goes on sale for the first time.
Oh, the worst.
Torn so many family and
the
friends
worst.
apart.
Hate Monopoly.
You do, yeah.
I just because family members get mad at me and
they're never coming back over. Just terrible. 1943 music news here. Singer Frank Sinatra debuts on radio with the song "Your Hit Parade."
Your Hit Parade.
Your Hit Parade.
Okay.
Not a big Sinatra guy. You?
What?
I meant, of course, I'm a Sinatra guy.
Why are you not a Sinatra guy?
I don't know. I guess I know a handful of songs. That was it. It's
okay.
It's the same way with the Beatles. You know, it's like
I'm not a big Beatles.
I know
guy,
it. Yeah,
which feels like heresy every time I say it. But
oh no, yeah,
I'm just not a big Beatles guy.
No.
Sinatra though. I mean,
yeah.
you give me the entire Rat Pack.
Yeah,
I'm cool on that end.
There you go. It's good stuff. Hey, speaking of radio, today in 1948, the first radio-controlled airplane was flown.
Oh, cool.
Fascinating. 1974, the U.S. House of Representatives begins determining grounds for impeachment of President Richard Nixon.
Yep.
Today.
You skipped 1952, though.
What was 52?
Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne.
Oh,
the ascension of Elizabeth II ascended the throne of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland on this day in 1952.
Nice. Yep. 1978, Muriel Humphrey, former Second Lady, is appointed to serve the remainder of late husband Hubert Humphrey's term as U.S. Senator.
Okay.
By Minnesota Governor. Yeah. Hey, 1980, John Wayne Gacy goes on trial for the murder of 33 young men in Cook County, Illinois.
Yeah.
Oof. 1996, rapper Tupac Shakur is sentenced up to 4.5 years in prison for sexual assault conviction.
Really?
Yeah.
That was when?
1996.
Okay.
96. 1998, Washington National Airport is renamed Ronald Reagan National Airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I was hearing a report the other day saying that somebody's calling it the most dangerous airport in America.
Oh, wow.
I don't. Well, when you have one accident, you become the most dangerous. Well, if you're the most recent, you're the most dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until another airport experiences a tragedy.
I've never had. Well, it's Reagan National. It's if you're flying into DC, you're flying into Reagan National. Because if you're flying into Dulles, you're flying like 2 hours away from DC, maybe even further. I mean, you get Baltimore, you got Dulles, and then you got Reagan. Reagan's right in the heart of it. They're busy, to be sure. So,
yeah. Let's see. 2014, Jay Leno hosts the Tonight Show for the final time.
Okay.
Were you a Jay Leno guy? Late night guy?
Not really.
Kinda. Yeah.
Not really.
A little bit.
Not really.
2018, Elon Musk company SpaceX launches Falcon Heavy, the world's most powerful rocket.
Awesome. Let's do birthdays.
Ronald Reagan.
Okay, they named the airport on his birthday.
On his birthday.
That was nice of them.
Also, Babe Ruth today.
Okay.
Bob Marley as well.
Okay.
And Guns N' Roses singer Axl Rose today.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
And I got another musician.
Oh?
Rick Astley.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
I do.
All right, couple more.
What you got?
Couple more that were born on this day. Aaron Burr, born on this day. That was you remember that Got Milk commercial?
Yes.
Yeah, with the guy eating the peanut butter?
Yep.
Couldn't win the radio contest. Zsa Zsa Gabor was born on this day in 1917. Ava Braun, Hitler's wife,
Oh.
born on this day in 1912. Yeah.
Hey.
You mentioned Babe Ruth. Tom Brokaw, born on this day in 1940. And no, that's a death. I had one more birthday. Where did he? Oh, Natalie Cole.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice. Let's see. Moving on to deaths here. I don't know. Do you have anything really notable?
Well,
today?
if Queen Elizabeth took over, that would be because King George died.
Yep.
So those two pieces of the puzzle go together.
Indeed.
And while we're talking about British kings, King Charles II died on this day in 1685. And then I've got I had one more. Where did he go? Oh, there he is. Arthur Ashe passed away on this day in 1993.
Okay. Moving on to national days here. Aside from Ronald Reagan Day, well, you know what? Maybe
Let's leave
keep
it.
Ronald Reagan Day.
Ronald Reagan Day. There you go.
Roll.
All right, we are approaching 8:15, which means we're running long. Let's take a quick break. Talk with David St. Romain next. Should have been. Hang up the call, Mike. 818 Talk 1073 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hey, don't forget Coach Kim Mulkey and the LSU Tigers hit the road to face Missouri tonight, 6:30 p.m. Your tip-off. Then Sunday at 3 p.m. they'll host Tennessee. You can hear the Tigers all season long on your home for LSU women's basketball. That's right here on Talk 1073 FM. Patrick Wright, Shaida Williams will be on the call tonight. There's a lot going on surrounding the Super Bowl, and we're trying to cover it as much as is humanly possible. Our good buddy David St. Romain hops on the hotline right now to talk about his role in all the festivities. David, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. Just enjoying this morning down here in New Orleans. I left town way before the traffic started.
Okay.
That was a good idea. Actually, I had to drop off one of my daughters at the airport. She's headed to Orlando with all the kids that are doing the competition cheer this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so we made our way down to New Orleans, and man, I am excited about being down here. Was asked by the Secretary of the Veterans Affairs to participate in the Super Bowl's Radio Row and do interviews down here for the next couple of days. And so, man, I can't wait to tell the nation about all the great things that all our veterans work here in Louisiana that's happening.
And we have a lot of it. There's a lot of stories to be told. Now, you've, of course, got Songs of Survivors that brings you into the fold on here, kind of puts you as the best front man for this. Is that the connection that was made? Is that how you landed the gig?
Yeah, that's how I got the gig. The Louisiana Department of Veterans Affairs partnered with us as an official partner only in the last couple of weeks. We made that official, so we're very excited about that. And this is kind of our first way of joining hands and showing support for each other, using my ability to get on here and talk a lot, which I do a lot, as we know.
Yep.
and their
in a good way. That's not a bad thing.
Absolutely. Use it for good stuff. And then they're able to get us in the door a little bit further than where I think I'd ever be able to get you on my own. So I'm super grateful that the secretary and that staff over there are just stepping up right off the bat to make us a part of the things. Joined by the boot, Ben Armstrong and Andrew. Andrew won't be down here, but Ben Armstrong's going to be down here also with us, which they're just doing great work. I'm so proud that we're trying to bring more veterans back into Louisiana, utilizing economic development and the resources here in the state to capture those veterans getting out of service or retiring, even from other states, and bringing them here, making them residents of Louisiana, and giving them a great reason and incentives to want to come here. So the Boot is another great organization in the state that's been kicked off last year, alongside the governor and Ben Armstrong and Andrew Ward and those folks over there. And so I'm honored we want to support veterans, and
yes,
we want to do that across the board. It's not just about Songs of Survivors. It's not just about the Boot. It's about each and every one of those veterans out there. And we're seeing that there's so many more possibilities for us to support them in just basic needs, all the way to enhancing lifestyle from, people that don't necessarily need a house or food. Maybe they just need support in other ways. And so that's what we're down here doing. We're talking about these, the great stories and the great things that are happening here in Louisiana for our veterans.
We're talking with David St. Romain, who's going to be posted up on Media Row either later on today and tomorrow, getting ready for the Super Bowl, telling some stories of veterans along the way. You mentioned the Boot, David, so I got to take it back to Washington. I met Andrew at your show in Washington, and just a little preview, he's coming on the show next week to tell the story of the Boot. So it's a really remarkable program, and we've got some legislative buy-in on the front end, or we've got some governmental buy-in from the state.
Right.
And basically, you gave the Cliff Notes version is we're recruiting veterans to make Louisiana their home, whether we're from Louisiana before signing up for the military, or they've completed their military service and they're from somewhere else. We want them here to add to the Louisiana citizenry.
That's right. We have an incredible state, and I think that when you step back and you go to other states and you see what they're doing, and some of them are doing great, some of them are struggling. But I tell you, I know one thing: in Louisiana, we have great people, we have great culture, We have great family. I mean, we're about family and culture and supporting each other. And so when we see that every time we have a hurricane. And so, every time we have a disaster, it's Louisiana. And anytime around the country there's a disaster, they're calling upon the National Guard from Louisiana because they know the strength of our people. And that's what we're about. And so I think when people come down here and they're for instance, in New Orleans, they feel the vibe and the culture and the fun, that's worldwide. People want to come here, and we're making major changes, I think, in this state for the greater good of our state long term. I think it's going to be, I think our future is so bright in this state, and I'm excited to invest my time and my resources everywhere I can to do the same, to continue to grow our state and to grow our, just a great place for our children to be raised. Education has been increased. We've really done a great job with Cade Brumley's done. I'm getting off subject, but this
good.
state across the board has really made a really hard, concerted effort to just wipe away the crap and start focusing on how do you make changes. We've seen it with elections. We've seen it with administrative changes. And I think we're going to see it in our capital city. I think we're going to see it in the state across the board.
I know, couldn't agree more. And we actually had Dr. Brumley on the show about an hour ago, and he's en route to New Orleans right now as well, because he's going to be over to Louisiana Now tent that's, if you're facing the convention center, it's to the left.
Yeah.
It's in that parking lot in between the convention center and the Hilton. So, I mean, he's going to, his aim is hopefully taking some of these educational wins and put them in front of folks from an economic development perspective as to why you would want to relocate here. We got David St. Romain for just a couple more minutes with us down at Media Row in New Orleans. So, David, I got to ask, so we know about the boot, do you already have a whole roster lined up? Because a lot of the Super Bowl is that organized chaos, and, the whole world has descended upon New Orleans. So do you know who all you're talking to, or is it going to be a little grab and go as you go?
I would love to, but I don't. Honestly, I was told we're going to get here and we're going to disperse and we're just going to go. We've got a list of everyone that is. I've got some targeted folks that I'm, obviously WWL. We've got USO down here, so I'm definitely going to be pushing to get into that tent and be able to speak on that radio. We sent out a little message and said, hey, Dave, I'm going to be down there, and to all the emails, and we'll see what comes back. I didn't want to have too many expectations, and just do the best I can, get down here and pound the pavement as long as I can. And I'll be here for the next couple of days, and so spend the night. So I'm actually in Jackson Barracks right now at the National Guard.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, well, I have a family, member. My brother is in the National Guard, so he's got a house here. So I came down. I got here so early. I had to leave Baton Rouge at 2:45 this morning in order to get my daughter. Well, my daughter flew out at 5:30 this morning. We're not going to miss that flight. Yeah, I feel like you do right now every morning.
So brutal.
But look, the best thing about I heard you talking about birthdays earlier. Tomorrow is my birthday.
Hey!
And so me and Garth Brooks. And so I was thinking, I like the fact that Bob Marley and Axl Rose, I mean, like, these are all people in my court, man. I was really enjoying hearing the birthdays while I was sitting and waiting.
I do notice that you skipped right past Rick Astley.
I don't even care.
Okay.
Yeah, man. And then I'm thinking, I'm just excited. I'm going to spend my birthday in New Orleans, and we're going to be down here with so much energy. There's so much energy down here. It's crazy. Like, you feel it when you cross the lake.
Well,
and the traffic makes you feel it too. So.
Well, yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to map my route right now, and because I'm heading down after the show. I was there on Tuesday, and the crowd was still relatively light on Tuesday. That being said, the energy inside the convention center was unbelievable. And that was, you got mostly press people at that time. Now you've got all the NFL greats making their way through. You've got, all the fans who were.
Dana White, I think I saw on the list. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. You did
Tomorrow?
see that right. Yes.
Yes, I'm looking forward to maybe getting a bird's eye view of that. That'd be awesome. I'd like to be able to see him. I've never Never been around him at all, but I
So-
can imagine the security. I know that security is beefed up to its highest level ever. It seems so. That's a wonderful thing. I'm glad for that. We
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, and it was going to be at a high level anyway, but then with the terror attack on New Year's Day, that obviously ramped things up to another notch. In the meanwhile, enjoy the hustle and bustle of it all. He is David St. Romain. We always appreciate the time, brother.
Appreciate y'all. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Later on. Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be making his way over to the convention center in just a little bit. So good stuff from David St. Romain. All right, we got a break and 1 minute from right now, or just over a minute from right now. I do need to tell you about the folks over at Mathern's. While we've got so much fixation on the Super Bowl, you'd almost forget that it's carnival time. Parades aren't here yet, but they will be. In the meanwhile, Mathern's is your carnival headquarters. Have you brought a king cake to the office yet? If you have not, shame on you. Get it done. Stop by Mathern's on Nicholson Drive in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. It's directly across the street from Tiger Stadium. When you walk in, you'll look slightly to your right. When I say slightly, like we're talking like about 1 o'clock, not even 2 o'clock. Look to your right. You're going to see the Mardi Gras tree. Underneath said Mardi Gras tree is the king cake display. You're going to find all the king cakes, the plain, the Bavarian cream, the strawberry cream cheese, the regular cream cheese, the praline. I could go on and on. If you could stuff it in a king cake, they've got it for you. And then on top of that, they've got the fancy king cakes as well. Now, once you're done with the king cakes, awesome. Have you attended a Mardi Gras ball this season? Or do you still have one on the calendar? Stop by Mathern's, or I should say stop by Mathern's.com for their catering trays. They've got you covered on that front. And then once the parades start rolling in a couple weeks, a little over a week from now, downtown on the corner of 4th and Main, you're going to find that back entrance to Mathern's. Anything you forgot to bring for the parade, they've got you covered. So all through carnival season, it's Mathern's. Awesome. Knocked them all out. What you say? You doing all right? All right, you'll be here and here. I'm gonna move over one. Awesome. Thank you. Oh, of course, of course.
The niche film guys.
Y'all both been on it, right?
Yeah. We were talking about last time. We were talking about our feature film that we shot, Box Folk, on original films, that thing, and now we're doing a film festival, so it's good. It's good stuff. Yeah, trying to make the indie scene in Baton Rouge more lively.
It's an essential part of the film economy.
Yeah,
It is. It's part of the film business. You know, like that's part of all of them. Is the business behind it.
Happy to do so. I work at the film commission with Katie Pryor. She told me to say hi, and she had just had her baby.
I know. Is she back yet? Or?
She's, you know, Katie. She's working. She was working the moment that baby entered the world.
That's how she rolls.
And it was Nathan.
Yeah.
And what's your last name?
Paul, H-A-L-L.
Thank you.
I don't know if I was mispronouncing your last name.
Carlton.
It's Carlton.
Yeah. There's the fun English spelling. Yeah.
I always say it without the.
Yeah. We're always on Facebook Live. Camera
Right.
Yeah. And we're also on YouTube now as well.
Oh, sweet. All right.
They talk over some free Baton Rouge YouTube channel.
We've officially gone on a press tour.
Yeah, because this
We'll
fairly new, right?
Yeah, we just went live
a week ago.
I was about to say I just saw it on Instagram, maybe about in that time.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is the
So
first annual
Yeah.
fest. So it's our
We're contracted.
Thank you for saying inaugural.
Yeah.
Because there is no such thing as first annual.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it takes 3 years to be
And we
well,
are contracted for 3 years, we should say. So
Okay.
we're not just a one and done.
All right.
Yeah.
We can say all that during the show.
And ignore my coughing. I'm not contagious or anything. I just came back from Washington Mardi Gras 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago I got back. And I'm still.
We just got back from Sundance. We'll cough at you.
Okay. We'll just create COVID 25.
Yeah.
This is really specific.
Now I wish there was, that glass.
You just like, I'm gonna go in the other room.
Yeah, it's
by
like-
the way.
Let me go when you got it. No, I see Brian every day. So if I don't have it, I think you guys are good.
That's fair. This is funny hearing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rufino's a long time
Yeah, great.
Do what?
Good. So,
Yeah.
Well, they're the former owner, passed roughly. My boss, Gordy, one of my besties. So, all the way back to when I was football together.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's still.
Yeah.
yeah. And at the end there's a discount code. Feel free to.
Okay, cool.
You can hand that out to anyone.
All right. All right, gonna be another warm one today. Get the AC running in February a little more. Your high today getting up to 82 degrees. We'll top out at 80 tomorrow. Then it's back to 82 on Saturday and Sunday. Monday will be in the mid 70s, and then Tuesday starts, or late Monday into Tuesday starts a whole lot of rain for the remainder of the week, all the way through Friday. Your highs all next week are going to be in the mid 70s. Your overnight lows all next week. Upper 50s, low 60s. Right now, we're cloudy and 69 in downtown Baton Rouge. It's an unproductive cough.
The worst kind.
I know. Download the Talk 1073 mobile app, the free Talk 1073 mobile app. Find out what you missed each day at talk1073.com and watch us live on Facebook and the Talk 1073 Baton Rouge YouTube channel. All courtesy of Lake Urgent Care. Lake Urgent Care, walk-in care for minor illnesses and injuries. We'll be visiting with Lake Urgent Care tomorrow morning at 6:50. Right now, though, time to pivot and talk about the business of film in Baton Rouge. We got something new coming your way in a couple months. I want to welcome Nathan Hall and Joe Carlton into the studio to talk about it. Fellas, welcome back. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great.
A little bit closer up on there. The inaugural Baton Rouge Underground Film Festival coming up in August.
Yep.
What put this together?
Yeah, I mean, we had actually been pitching a film festival for several years, and in fact, we went and shot our movie. We kind of put it aside, thinking that maybe there wasn't too much attention coming there,
Mhm.
and then people reached out to us, and we just started putting it together while we were in the middle of post production for our film.
Let's pause for just a second to talk
Yeah.
about your film, the movie y'all put together. Y'all been on before to talk about it,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
been a minute, so
right.
refresh everybody as to the story you've told.
Yeah, Beware the Box Folk, entirely shot in Baton Rouge with Louisiana crew. It's an independent feature film, political satire following a journalist who uncovers a cardboard lace conspiracy in the middle of an election season.
Where is it?
So right now we're in the middle of post production.
Oh, okay, okay.
Not released
But
yet.
when
Not
we do
out
the
yet.
premiere, you're invited.
Oh, awesome. Because yeah, it does sound like a true Louisiana story. So, Baton Rouge Underground Film Festival. So you've got other people reaching out to y'all now to put this whole thing together. So let's talk about what it's going to entail.
Yeah, so it's a 3-day festival. It's going to be August 22nd through the 24th at the Manship Theater, downtown Baton Rouge.
Mhm.
And we created this festival because obviously we have a big heart for the indie spirit, and we think that in order to generate an film industry locally, you got to start with the weird stuff. You got to have people coming in, making really cool things, getting them interested, getting them educated and trained, and then moving on to bigger stuff and hopefully bigger independent projects. And that's what we're aiming for.
And the independent film world does not get a whole lot of recognition until something like really explodes, right?
Mhm.
It's one where you're probably going to have a little bit more one-on-one access with actual creators along the way. I was reading up on the press release about this. Y'all got a number of workshops and panels too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're partnering with some workforce training program locally, so we can you can be attending the film festival, watch a great movie, and then get inspired. Go attend a workshop on filmmaking, a panel on how to get funding. The intent being that this is an opportunity for you to take a step forward in your career.
The 3 panels that were featured in the press release all really deal with the business end of film. So what y'all are looking for here are storytellers, people who already have either stories to tell or the inklings of a story to tell, and then you're looking to put them together with the folks who can move it from there.
Absolutely. One thing that's really important in the industry that we've seen is just slightly lacking is the business side of it, right?
Yes.
We know that we want to make a really cool movie, and we want to get our friends on screen or making really cool props, production design, all these elements. We've made the movie, and then what do we do with it?
Right.
Where do we sell it? How do we take advantage of tax incentives, tax credits that are available to us in this great state? What does it mean to finance a movie? How can we get financiers interested in creating, a good business model where we're not just making one movie and going, well, it's on YouTube now.
Right.
But we make a movie, we distribute it, it goes to international sales, domestic sales, and then we make a second movie, a third movie, on and on and on, so that we can build our own businesses as filmmakers and not necessarily, rely on a studio.
When we talk about film in Louisiana, we talk about film in Baton Rouge, we skip right past the business end far too often. But in reality, I mean, as y'all
They're
filmmakers,
completely intertwined.
Right.
Every single film is a small business. It's a startup.
right?
And the film festival is also very similar in that process as well. We want to provide opportunity for people to learn about that side of it because we have a lot of great artists. Sometimes they just need lessons on the business side of things. But we also want to provide a third space for all the independent artists that come to and from our area to interconnect, and also just to showcase and celebrate their work and invite the entire area, entire city, entire state to this festival to learn more about what's going on.
We got Nathan Hall and Joe Carlton in with us. We're talking about the Baton Rouge Underground Film Festival. First edition coming your way August 22nd through 24th at the Manship Theater in downtown Baton Rouge. Got to ask about those who have already put their story on film. What are we looking for on a submission end here?
Yeah, I mean, it's called the Underground. Obviously, we're highlighting independent and genre-focused talent, but we're also highlighting stories from Southern Louisiana. So don't rule yourself out. Go ahead and submit. There's a discount code that's on our social media and also on our website. And if you reach out to us, we'll work with you. We just want to see we want to build a cool lineup, and we want to see some cool movies.
Yeah, Well, yeah, I mean that's the draw, right? That's what's going to bring everyone else out there as well. So what you're going to want to do is go to the BRUF Baton Rouge Underground Film Festival. It says the Film Freeway portal. How do they get there?
Yeah, so you can go on our website, BatonRougeUnderground.com, and you can go to our social media, Baton Rouge Underground, or you can just go to filmfreeway.com/BRUnderground. Either way, you'll get there.
And then the BRUFF225 is the discount code. BRUFF225 would be the discount code. Get you 25% off. All right, so let's look at the film festival. Look at this festival as a whole here. 3 whole days that it's going to be going on. What are your goals? What are your expectations?
Yeah. I mean, the goal is, it's a 3-day festival, and we want to fill this with short films, feature films, the workshops and panels. Right, have a central space for people to come and see some great movies, but also network and talk about film and filmmaking, and again, learn with these workshops and panels. So we really want to, this to be a jumping off point for the next calendar year of, okay, we went to this local festival, we saw these cool things that other people around us are making. I can do that too. We have some really great prizes that are associated with the competition of the festival to hopefully generate additional projects. We've got the grand prize of a $5,000 grant to fund another project that you might make. We also have another prize for a free 1 day at a location. We're talking to several locations around Baton Rouge. We want these to be substantial. It's not 1 day at a break room in an office, right?
Right.
It's going to be
trying
one
to
day.
highlight the iconography of Baton Rouge. Essentially, we want a film festival that inspires people to come back and film here.
Yeah,
Right.
well, and that would hopefully be the goal, is to turn this into more local business in this business.
Absolutely.
And I'm trying to say the word business as much as possible, because when you're
Roll
talking
for
about when you're talking about the entertainment world, the cool aspect or the fun aspect always gets the headlines, and the guy, my neighbor 3 doors down, who can pay his mortgage because he has a skill set that applies here.
Yeah.
That always gets overlooked. This is business and this is employment.
We want this film festival to highlight the artistic and the cultural value, but we also want to highlight the economic and tourism value of film in our area as well with this film festival.
Okay, so for those who've never been to a film festival, that would be myself included.
We'll come to ours.
You got the Sundance jacket on right now.
I do have that on.
So, what is the expectation here when I walk in? What is the expectation of, like, what am I going to see?
So you're going to see a lot of interesting movies. We're going to be at the Mansion Theater. We're going to be having the big theater going on. We'll have an additional screening room, and we'll also have panels, and we'll also have a space for you to just go sit down and kind of network casually.
So
going on.
When you talk, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting, but when you talk about the panels, not just the ones that are for the filmmakers, what's out there for, like, the casual fan?
Yeah. So we're hoping to have some stuff that highlights the cultural background of film in Baton Rouge and Louisiana. A lot of people don't recognize just how long film has been a part of this city. It's over 100 years. Our very first movie that shot here was in 1917. It was a silent film.
Yeah.
Louisiana's been a huge part of film for as long as it's been in America. The very first independent movie theater was in New Orleans. That was way back when. It's part of our history. It's part of our culture, and we want to make sure that we're celebrating that.
Can't do this without a whole team and a team of sponsors and supporters as well. Who do we need to highlight?
So first of all, we need to give a huge shout out to our headline sponsor, Visit Baton Rouge, who obviously recognizes the artistic, cultural, economic, and tourism value of film. We want to give a shout out to the local film commission, of course, who's continuously supporting us. Shout out to Novak and to Celtic as well. We've had community support from all ends, but we're also still accepting sponsorships, and we'd love to connect with everyone in the city to get involved.
The power of spreading the word, the power of selling Louisiana's message when just through storytelling. I honestly, this could be completely off the rails. The Super Bowl is in New Orleans this week, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And you cannot buy better coverage to sell the city and sell the state than putting it on a world stage like that. Every time Louisiana's on a screen, we get to tell Louisiana's story in some way, shape, or form. It's just the sharing of that is unbelievably important. How do you take that from an independent film level to escalate it? How do you upscale that?
Well, so this is maybe necessarily an independent film, just an example of something that I ran into the other day of just like how film works as advertisement for your area. When we were at Sundance, someone walked up and said, one of my favorite movies that I've seen in the past 5 years, become one of my favorites, is Iron Claw, shot in Baton Rouge, by the way.
That's the wrestling one?
Yeah. It's a fantastic movie shot in Baton Rouge and the surrounding Baton Rouge area. Someone said it was their favorite movie, and I said, "Oh, well, it's shot in Baton Rouge," and he goes, "That's awesome. Can I come down there and look at all the locations?" And we're like, "Yeah, absolutely." So not only is this one of his favorite films that makes him think about an area, which is our area, but it also incentivizes him to come down and check out the area. When people come in and check out the specific locations for their movies, they also stay, they go get food, they shop, they explore, and they just get more involved in the city. So that's just one small example, but just like that's one movie. We also had Steven Soderbergh come from this area with Sex, Lies, and Videotape and Crimestoppers. We had Pitch Perfect, we had Twilight, we've had Greyhound, Oblivion. We've had all these incredible movies that inspire people to come down and check out our area.
And like you said, this has been around for the film business in Louisiana has been around forever. Like take it back to, you mentioned the 1917, and I want to say there was a Tarzan film here. But in the 80s, the toy, Richard Pryor. That building does it. The old Advocate building. There's a famous scene there. The Governor's Mansion, famous scene there. It is embedded in our locale. But to further embed it within who we are as a people, I think is the mission here. Where can folks go if they want to learn more?
Go to BatonRougeUnderground.com. You can follow us at Baton Rouge Underground on social media. You can reach out to us. We're happy to answer any questions, help however we can. Just come get involved, connect with us, and start making your movies.
Nathan and Joe, let's get y'all back on as we get closer to the festival itself. Just once the submissions are in and we know what all we're looking at. Thank y'all so much for a couple minutes.
Thank you.
Here comes Your Money Now on Talk 107.3 FM. We'll close it out with the Outside In next. I am so sorry. I killed you for about 2 seconds. That's okay. I have a cough button for my microphone, and I'm not on my microphone. You're on my microphone. So I went to cough, and then you disappeared, and my cough was right into the microphone.
Hey, that's how
it's not independent. It's not independent unless there's a sound issue.
Right. Well, in live radio, we don't get to go back to editing. So.
That's not good. All good.
Yeah. That was fun, though. But you mentioned Sex, Lies, and Videotape. And there's no better example of turning one into the other than Steven Soderbergh.
No, he's an amazing filmmaker. Obviously, we're inspired by having such an incredible talent come from the area.
Right.
But he's a great example of exactly what we're talking about. If we support independent film, that's how we get more Steven Soderbergh.
Exactly.
And we've also had Easy Rider come through here. The Duplass brothers came out of Louisiana. We've had huge.
Duplass brothers went to Jesuit.
Yeah, they grew up in Metairie, I think. But they're Louisiana boys. They both Soderbergh, Easy Rider, and the Duplass brothers have had a huge impact upon the American and international independent scene, and all of them have ties to our area.
Are any of them coming through? Y'all looking to land any big?
So obviously we can't say anything now, but we are.
Well, the theme of the week has been nurturing.
Yeah, we're definitely nurturing the film scene.
Nurture these things grows.
Yeah.
And when LSU plays football at home, and the team gets off the bus at the top of the hill, and they walk down the hill, and there's just the throngs of crowds.
Yeah.
If you can get 3 dozen people to show up for an independent filmmaker, and say, "Oh, dude, I love your stuff."
Yeah.
Oh,
and I'm sure you've talked to Patrick Mulhern several times, but Patrick's doing a really cool job of tying the football and that kind of side sector with the film scene.
Billy Cannon.
Yeah, so he's really seen the fact that there there are these these ways that we could interconnect that we're not, and he's had a really cool vision for that.
Patrick has an open door over here.
I'm sure.
It's, we're going to start talking about putting together a film and Louisiana Entertainment Hall of Fame.
That'd
So
be really
not
cool.
just film,
Yeah.
music as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. I obviously have a few recommendations.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had like 100 ideas
Yeah.
in my mind right away. Like, we need to make this thing a reality.
The film commission is working on a thing to highlight the tourism element of it. So there'll be some kind of cool news for that coming up soon too. And so maybe Katie and I could come on and talk about that a little bit as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Big deal, you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Email me back when it's time. When we look at the beginning of summer, and then we'll schedule something out for like late July, early August, just for the the people who are going to swing by and just be fans.
Absolutely. Definitely want to promote the tickets too.
Oh, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Brumley's featured. Not yet.
Mr. Brumley there. Is he still the, let's see, what I see the association for Academy View University? Okay. It's a training center, I guess, in Baton Rouge. My brother's in there. He's on his way to become a principal.
Okay.
So yeah, I didn't know.
I haven't heard of Academy View. Talk 1073 is now on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, Talk 1073 Baton Rouge. Right now, all subscribers will be eligible to win tickets to see a night of comedy with Jim Gaffigan and Sebastian Maniscalco. That show is coming up Thursday, February 20th at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans. Watch and subscribe today at the Talk 1073 Baton Rouge YouTube channel. And don't forget, coming up Sunday, speaking of things happening in New Orleans, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs look to make history and capture their third straight Super Bowl title when they take on Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to join that broadcast from Westwood One. It will immediately follow LSU women's basketball on Sunday. Our coverage is, of course, presented locally by L'Auberge Casino and Hotel Baton Rouge. Super Bowl 59 is on Talk 107.3 FM. All right, we're almost out of here for today. Going to hand off to Moon Griffon in just a little bit. Man, we got a show lined up for tomorrow. Checking in a couple more times in New Orleans. I can't pay enough attention to our state being on the world stage. Walt Leger with New Orleans and Company was on with us last week, or it was, I want to say it was last Friday. And I made the reference to it's kind of pencils down when you're done with your exam. And Walt was like, no, we're still working. We're still getting things, hammered out, finished up, final paint job on things, removing road cones and the like. So we're going to check in with Walt tomorrow as we head into Super Bowl weekend to get all the latest. Just like we talked with Mark Remig this morning, we'll talk with Walt Leger tomorrow at 6:35. Now, also tomorrow, EBR School Superintendent Lamont Cole is going to join us. I believe it's 7:15. I've got them written down for 7:15. Rough week in Baton Rouge schools when it comes to violence and discipline. Lamont Cole will address all of it tomorrow morning, and the folks from Supper Club are in for Foodie Friday. How about that? The Outside In, let's go. Starting off in Livingston Parish, a canine apprehended a wanted fugitive during a stolen vehicle pursuit, according to the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office. Deputies were pursuing a felon in a stolen vehicle who was wanted in a neighboring jurisdiction. The suspect, Joseph Shanahan, stopped on Frank Ballard Road before fleeing on foot. Diesel, the canine, tracked down Shanahan and apprehended him. You know what? When they let that dog go, just give up. Just give up. Get on your knees, hands behind your head. Do not fight the dog. You're going to lose. Heading over. By the way, shout out Diesel. Good boy. Heading over to Tangipahoa Parish, 2 Independence police officers were arrested after allegedly tampering with evidence at a murder scene, according to the sheriff's office. 33-year-old Mitchell Rainey and Caitlin Rainey were booked for 1 count of malfeasance in office and obstruction of justice after they allegedly removed and altered evidence from a murder scene. Oh, that's going to require follow-up. Yep. And you know what? Looking ahead, that's going to do it for the Outside In. The next story is too long for us to get to. Moon Griffons coming up next. We'll see y'all tomorrow. All right, Facebook. I got bro, we've got content overload coming your way real soon. Tomorrow's gonna kick ass. Patty G's back in tomorrow, by the way. I still gotta fill the 8:15 segment. I don't know where we're going with that one just yet. Oh no. I think I know who I'm calling for the 8:15 segment tomorrow. It just hit me. I know where we're going with this tomorrow. 8:15. Heading into Super Bowl weekend.
Should cue up a drum roll or something.
Do what?
I should cue up a drum roll. The anticipation.
Oh, where's that's not the right song? Here we go.
Oh. You think he'll do it?
Tomorrow, yeah, I got to put the call in. I don't know. It's not locked down yet. But we have to call the Oddfather. It's Super Bowl weekend. More gambling than you could possibly shake a stick at. Everybody's going to be on the apps. Everybody's going to be in the sports books. We turn to the Oddfather. Jimmy Ott. Hopefully. I'm teasing something I haven't booked yet. I shouldn't do that because it always jinxes. But we call on Ott for the Super Bowl. We call on Ott for March Madness. By the way, if you're not following Otter Locks over on AFR, you're losing money. So, Supper Club, Patty G, Lamont Cole, Walt Leger, and hopefully Jimmy. Yep. Yeah. We got a show. We'll see y'all then.